Welcome to Storm King's Thunder, where me and a bunch of my nerdy-ass friends get together and we like to play Dungeons and Dragons!
Hell yeah!
Tonight, we are on session 56 of our campaign. Where we last left off, the Lords of Nightstone were aboard the Morkoth, the squid ship that they had been searching for several days at sea. They had picked up a few castaways and such before arriving there, including young Volcano, one of the members of the Crimson Inferno, who came on the ship as a cabin boy after stowing away for a few days. You guys picked up Jesse and Raisha, a couple of castaways that you found on an island, who were originally part of Ben and Barb's crew, but had gotten lost at sea after their ship sank. The Lords thankfully found out from them that unusual vessel had passed. You guys corrected course and pursued it, and after a short time, managed to find Wex the Kraken Priest, who you had encountered months ago on Zephyros' tower, and who seems to be one of the figureheads of the Kraken Society. Also aboard the ship were several marrow and humans that had aquatic-like features, crab arms, tentacles, scales, gills, several unusual, off-putting, monstrous traits. Aboard the ship was also King Hecaton, bound in chains that led to 4 runes that were each marked with a different Jotun symbol. The party was able to... Oh, there was also a massive 2-headed shark. How could I forget that? That's one of my favorites. The party did manage to give Wex and his cronies a good thumping. I think it was Ark that killed Wex. Is that right, you guys? I'm trying to remember.
I can't remember either.
I think that's right. It was Ark, right? Oh, okay. You guys ruined the bit. Davos did get the final kill on Wex, and we didn't want to tell you because we knew it would go to your head. But you did manage to... It's funny, too, because Goldbrand had literally thrown down his axe, grappled Wex, and was stabbing him with his new dagger, and you jumped off the higher level and, went in through his neck with your rapier and smited him, so he just, burst and sent blood and fish guts everywhere. Very badass moment for Davos.
Kill Steel.
We thought we'd, yeah, exactly. Kill Steel. Captain Kill Steel. Oh, God. I almost wish we had stats, like fucking Smite and shit. You had this many kills, this many assists, blah, 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 blah.
I can make it happen for you.
I was going to say.
Goldbrand puts the ass in assist.
Yeah. You do? Oh, I love it.
I need that on a t-shirt.
Assist. No, you need it on like fucking sweatpants, on the butt, put the ass in assistance. The Lords had quite a time. While you guys did manage to fuck them up pretty well, between the multiple spellcasters who were sending off multiple lightning bolts and trying to take command of you guys, and healing Wex himself, it was a difficult engagement. After a few rounds, the water turned an inky black and grew still as 4 massive tentacles rose from the water. Slackrethel himself was present. After blasting a few of the tentacles with the cannons, slashing and shooting spells at them, the Lords managed to finish Wex and most of the crew off. However, as the tentacles went under the water, Slackrethel and his true, massive, terrifying form arose. And while they did manage to knock 3 of the tentacles off, he is not an octopus. He does not have 8. He seemed to have hundreds of them as they were all writhing simultaneously. These would pick up party members. I think Davos, Bergen, Ark, all of you got picked up at one point and thrown. Davos got thrown into... Or was it Bergen that got thrown into... people got thrown into people. It was a fun time. 5 out of 5 would do against. Yeah, I was about to say, it sounds right. You guys did manage to figure out the runestones, that when you cast a spell of the appropriate elemental type on them, that they release the chain. And after doing all 4 of them, were able to free King Hecaton, who then stirred and in a frenzy began to use the chains as weapons, as he was otherwise unarmed, to try to battle Slackrethel. The battle was intense. Cannons being fired off at this creature. Ark trying to use a ballista. It's funny, Ark shot 7 times, and Davos shot I think once, and y'all both got 1 hit out of that, and I feel real bad for Ben. It was a rough roll for him. Slackrethel also used an impressive display of spell work with chain lightning, power word kill, which drops Z immediately. Bergen, however, with his superb healing, was able to bring him back fairly easily. Almost too easily, in fact. Through the rest of the bitter entanglement, you guys managed to weaken Slackwerthel to a point where he began to fear for his own preservation. As King Hecatan had told you, Slackwerthel ultimately wants immortality, so if you put his life in true danger, he will flee. As he tried to flee, however, you guys unleashed a flurry of blows, guiding bolts, spells, ballista, several things attacking this creature as it tried to flee, before Bergen finally got it with a cone of cold and managed to flash freeze the enormous kraken before shattering it with the very mace he started the fight with, which I just love to death. That's just fantastic. With that, my dudes, I think we're going to pick back up with tonight's session. Before we do, though, any comments, snide remarks, things I forgot?
Bergen's still in awe.
I'll take. Bergen's still in awe. Yep. Drenched in blood now, too. Rescue team can have the night off. Okay, good. I saw rescue team and I was worried, but we're good. Bloop. And with that, my dudes, as we pick back up, Slackwerthel's semi-frozen body drifts like small icebergs in the blood-darkened waters. One half of the sky is black and purple, with the first reaches of night, while the other half is bathed in hues of peach, gold, crimson, and pink. The moon rises in the distance, a nice, shining, half-full but waning moon that gilds the eastern waves in its silvery light. Hecatan looks out over the water for a long moment before taking an uneasy seat within the hollowed hull. Now that the fury and rage have faded from him, you see that he is very much worn down and disheveled. Spending almost a full year in this stasis has resulted in him being stiff and unsteady. He slips a couple of fingers under his manacles and, with a bit of effort, bursts each of them open one by one, before wearily resting his head in his hands as he takes you all in. I must thank you, lords, for your assistance. I must ask, how long have I been trapped like this? Has Sarissa taken the throne? Has my wife been revived yet?
Goran shakes his head to both things.
How long have I been trapped like this?
Evidently, about a year. I didn't realize that until you said it, but yeah, I guess we have been in this campaign for about a year now.
You guys have been in it for about 6 months, and then 6 months before is when shit started getting really fucky as far as giants going crazy. So that's when your mother was killed, Davos' dad disappeared. That was about the time things were set into motion. He shakes his head. His next question was, has Sarissa assumed the throne?
No. Not yet. As of 3 days ago.
He also asked, have they revived my dear wife?
We weren't aware they had the bodies.
You see him look a little pensive, and the sort of clouds begin to creep in, not quite thundering, but darkening a bit. He says, I must return to my court. I've been away too long. The ordning must be restored. He tries to stand, and he's a little uneasy with it. He actually rocks the boat a bit, and he looks at you and says, I understand that in my absence my people may have grown unruly, and I apologize to the small folk for this, but I intend to set things right. You have been to Maelstrom. Is this true?
Yes.
We've also exacted a fair good bit of our own revenge, so I don't know how much setting right you'll exactly need to do.
Revenge? What do you mean?
Jarl's gone.
Storvold? He was difficult even at the best of times. He will not be missed. Better frost giants will arise through the ranks.
The fatty.
You might have a missing stone giant.
You might have to replace all of them. Actually,
we figured
apologize for the hassles.
Yeah, we figured you'd want to replace them, so we were kind of trying to gain favor and did some of that for you.
Zolto, Kyalithica, Ga, Sarissa, or excuse me, not Sarissa, Sansuri. All of them gone.
Those names sound vaguely dead, yeah? I mean, familiar.
He looks you all over. You are far more impressive than I originally forsook. I apologize. I know Zolto has been restless and aggressive in his pursuit of the fragments of the Vanandad. I know, too, that Kyalithica and Storvold were bloodthirsty, even in the best of times. I understand that what you have done was in many ways necessary. I do not appoint the thanes and jarls of these people. They will choose their own leaders, and hopefully they will make better decisions. I must get back to the Wormskull throne. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say there's a traitor in your court as well that we're not entirely sure of. Does he know that?
The clouds grow much more thick. He goes, a traitor? What do you mean? What do you know of this traitor?
I think they wanted you to die.
Crack of thunder in the distance.
We don't know who it is. Because they're...
Do you know anything of their identity?
I feel like we got a clue the last time we tried to peer in, but I can't remember who.
That it's a woman was what someone had told us recently. That it was a she.
And we were
recent
thinking
piece of information that we got.
They're also like higher up in the court, or is that just
was
something
it the
you assume?
advisor chick? That's what we think.
He's gonna know each one if we name them.
Yeah. You suspected Mirren and Imelda, and you did scry on both of them. You saw Mirren. Mirren actually suggested that if her father was she didn't say dumb enough to get captured, but if father got captured, maybe it's best we haven't had a new king after all. And you tried to scry on Imelda, but found that she was very well warded.
Shielded.
He bites his lip a bit. A traitor in my court. It makes more sense. How Slackwithel found my queen. How he managed to bind me with this Jotun magic. This is not something that is normally in his capacity. I'm glad that you've put an end to him. And for that I owe you dearly, but I must discover this traitor and oust them from my court. If you have done much for me, and it feels selfish to ask for more, but I ask that you attend with me to Maelstrom, in hopes that you may help me oust this traitor and set the ordning right once more.
Can you take us with you without killing us?
What do you think he's gonna do? Kill you and revive you there? He shakes his head, he nods his head, yes, yes, I can get us there in a matter of just a few hours. You can even rest on the way. I will deliver your entire vessel to the surface of Maelstrom, and then you 6 lords may come with me into the depths.
If your wife queen still needs reviving, that might maybe be something I can do. Maybe.
I'm unsure of her condition. The Jotun have very fine healers in my court. If they found her body, they should have been able to revive her. I'm apprehensive at best. If you have not seen her within my court, it's reason for pause.
He said rest on the way, so Gobran's all about it.
Yeah. Load aboard your vessel, and we will depart shortly.
I do have a question.
Sure, fire away.
I think we're all willing to help see this through to the end, but would you be willing to help us in return after we restore your throne? We kind of have gathered some attention from some nefarious organizations, and they're kind of marching on our hometown right now, ready to blast everything to smithereens. So,
do you know anything about
enemies in your time?
Do you know anything about the Bane Dark Winds?
He shakes his head. The name Bane, I know, is one of the dark gods of your pantheon. Not one that we particularly revere or understand, but I understand he is a sinister force. I do not know anything of Darkwind. But if you restore me to my throne, you will have my aid.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, indeed. Hey, Ben, how's it going, dude?
What's up, bud?
What's up?
Glad you guys made it home safe. Good shit, good shit. You guys...
Roads don't look too bad, so...
Yeah, good.
Hopefully it stays that way.
For real, though. You guys have just talked to Hecaton after ending the fight, and he's found out that there's a traitor in his court, and found out a little bit more information about how long he's been gone, and has some suspicions of potential motivations. You guys load aboard your ship, and he jumps off of the Morkoth and crashes into the water, and almost immediately you lose sight of him. But the water beneath the ship begins to swirl and rise up as a massive swell pushes your ship forward, propelling you northwest at incredible speeds. You guys ride the wave with your sails full and your ship remarkably balanced. And if you actually look over the edge, you see that he is holding your vessel from underneath as he is in this watery-like form, very similar to Pandora's watery form, that is rushing forward at this breakneck pace through these frigid waters on the longest night of the year, the Feast of the Moon. You pass mountains of coral and shallows. You see shale and broad trenches. You're passing by islands left and right. And Ark, this is the Sword Sea as you've never seen it before. You've lived on this ocean your entire life, but you are perhaps 100 feet up in the air on this massive tidal wave that is skimming by everything. And it's funny, as you guys, as islands and stuff come your way, the wave actually parts to allow the island to pass through dryly before it continues over. And you guys travel the equivalent of 500 miles in just a few hours. You guys do get a short rest, so go ahead, roll some hit die, press that button so you get any of the abilities and skills that you do back as you guys make your way to Maelstrom. Once there, boop-a-loop-a-loop.
I never know what button to hit for this. It's always awful. So
The
I
rest
click
button.
roll, hit die, what happens?
I believe in you, Devin. You can make it not awful.
See, but that
Roll
only
high.
rolls one, so I have to just roll them multiple times. I'm sorry, I think it's dumb that you have to hit it twice to count it. It's weird.
I get that.
Instead of just doing this. Oh, it does it on the table if you do it that way, though. Does it go to the thing? Does not.
While Devin works out the mysteries of hit dice.
Sorry.
You guys... no, you're fine. You guys finally feel the swell begin to drop as the ship comes to a standstill on the oddly still ocean, considering you guys just rode a fucking tsunami across it. Hecaton's upper half rises from the waters, and he asks you if you're ready for your descent.
Can't think of why not.
I mean, are we ready?
Ride the light.
So I just want everyone to know that I am out of rage. So
Oh.
Goldbrand can't get angry. Yeah.
Can I punch you in the
Can't get
face for
angry.
rage?
It's funny, because Devin can always get angry.
I'm always angry. It never ends.
OGL
But-
2.0.
Weird.
Goldbrand.
Oh man, what a rough roll of fucking hit dice. I see 3 1s in there. Well, that's okay though.
So I can't.
Come on,
I
let me
can't
roll
get
on
it to
my...
work right either. I don't understand.
Okay, so-
It is a little weird how it
I
works.
even
So
Googled it.
what I had to do was click how many hit dice and then click the 3 or 4 D8 plus whatever. That'll
That's
roll
what I
them
did
all
the
together
second time.
and then
Yeah.
take short rest, confirm. That's how I
don't
did
think
it.
I did that part.
Wait, so you check the number of boxes.
Yeah, okay.
Right. And then it should have a box under that that says 4D whatever plus your modifier.
Yeah. It just doesn't go to the tabletop, it seems, if you do it that way.
Can we long
You
rest
have-
before we go?
I mean, it's cool as long as it.
Short rest.
You can't long rest. Well, you could ask him, but if you do, he says,
Okay.
I have been away long enough. I would like to return to my court with haste.
Understood.
Yeah. I'm above half anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah. You guys, if you're ready,
I think.
he invites you to
Hold
leap in.
on. You get an extra D.
Oh,
Let me find it.
Thank you. Do it.
Oh,
Thank
a Song of
need it.
Rest.
Yeah.
I think it's an extra D8, but I could be mistaken. It might be
Everyone
tied to your
has
level,
their own-
actually. It may go up.
Does that do anything besides heal?
The Song of Rest.
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of.
If that's the case,
I think
then
it just says whenever.
if it's just for
If
healing,
you-
let me pop something that'll probably be a little stronger.
No, this is for everybody. I
This
think.
is a
Yeah, and this is for-
blanket.
It's whenever you take a short rest, so he can do it. It doesn't like
I see.
expend a thing.
I got
But
you.
you're
It says
welcome to
whenever
do.
you-
You're welcome to do something else. You even have time to do a prayer of healing if you
I was
want to.
gonna
It's
say,
all up to you.
Yeah, I don't know how bad everybody's looking. You said Arc, you're above half.
Technically.
I'm
Goldbrand.
I'm maxed.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Goldbrand is just over half.
All right, yeah, fuck
And
it.
everybody gets an extra D8.
To whatever we're doing
Yeah.
now. Okay.
Yeah.
No, we
So
get
everybody
we
roll-
get it well, for rolling.
Well, yeah. Everybody roll a D8. This is something Davos does passively, so there's no
Yeah.
abilities that are used.
It's for rolling hit
Um,
dice, right?
Right.
Yes.
No, just a D8. No, not a hit die.
But that's
It's
what pops
specifically-
the ability.
That's yes.
That's what
Anytime
Yeah, well,
someone.
Anytime you take a short rest and spend hit dice, yeah. And then Bergen, you are welcome to do another heal or something if you would like.
Yes, I will prayer of healing if we have 10 minutes
Oh.
to spare.
Bless you.
Devin, do you have Pandora up?
Yes.
We you? She should be pretty good. She was close to full when we ended that fight, I think. After nearly dying twice.
Bless you, Bergen. I did that. Yeah, she's at a little less than 70%.
Put her at full
I'm,
health because her hit die plus all of this will probably put her there.
I'm
Let's
also
do all
going
of
to
those
use
real
my Pearl of Power to
Oh,
restore
very
it
smart.
Health.
before I need to use it as an action in the middle of battle.
Fantastic. Very smart move. With that, if you're ready, Hecaton invites you to dive in.
I think so.
Do I need? Do we need? I'm not sure how he would say this. Do I need to make it so that we can breathe to get down there?
Oh.
He shakes his head. I will handle that, but I appreciate your offer.
Good. Go run and jump.
Okay. If
Oh,
the rest of you follow...
I'm really sorry, Davos. We need to mark some stuff off your character sheet.
Okay.
Go ahead and do it now before you get into
Before we
the
get
thick of
started.
stuff.
Yeah. So you used a 4th level smite and a 3rd level smite. I'm sorry, there was
Alright.
cracking. We busted out.
It was necessary.
I am
You almost killed
showing
it,
a
but you
4th
didn't.
level slot used. Was that from 2 weeks ago? Invisibility? So y'all
Probably.
didn't.
Yeah, that's when you went on the
can't-
ship first, so that is from the
Yeah,
week before. So
I
you've used
can't
one more
mark
4
anything.
and one more 3.
Yeah, I can't mark anything on your character sheet
Right.
because the way the
Okay.
settings are. So I have them on a
Yeah,
sticky
yeah,
note.
we're good. We're good.
You used a bardic inspiration and you used a 5th level guiding bolt. So I apologize for
Okay. 5th level
We-
guiding bolt.
we had to try to lay
Bardic
it down.
inspiration.
I love how
It's all good,
Devin's
bro.
so anxious about this, but yeah,
Right.
it's you have the Kraken. Yeah, use the spell slots.
I'm surprised you didn't 5th level smite the fucker.
Devin's scared to
He's
use
thinking
people's
about it.
Stuff without them. Yeah.
I mean,
all right.
it does equal 6 dice because of the passive
Jeebus
With my-
criminal.
sword.
Ow.
Jeebus indeed. As you guys dive into the water, Hecaton sinks below the waves, and you feel yourselves launched forward and down at an incredible speed. You're breathing underwater, and even as you're going down, and you know that the pressure should affect you, you don't feel anything like that. You are being torpedoed down the ocean, and by comparison, Hecaton, much like a submarine, is right in lockstep with you. You guys descend on Maelstrom, this subaquatic city made of coral and stone and blossoming with life, both plant-based and animal. You head into these. He guides you through a tunnel that leads you into the subaquatic atrium that you first arrived in. through the halls, past guards who gasp and kneel deeply as they see him, through the music room with a variety of stunned giants who kneel speechlessly as the king strides by. Hecaton storms into the throne room and throws the doors open. Within the chamber are the Princess Sarissa, Mirren, Nim, as well as Counselor Imelda and Imperator Uthor. For those on the map, we are over here to the right on the upper side. Even the two giant guards who are present turn to look aggressively as the door is burst open unexpectedly, but as soon as they see him, speechlessly fall to their knees as well. And there's this thick, stunned silence that fills the room for a moment. Before Sarissa, overjoyed, drops the scepter and runs to her father and throws her arms around him and begins weeping. There's a beat of hesitation before the other two sisters join as well and lay a hand on Hecaton. Imelda and Uthor are stunned, standing in surprised silence before Uthor drops his head. "We thought you were lost, brother. I'm ashamed we did not have more faith in you." Imelda, welcome home, Storm King. I must ask, what was the Kraken's intent? Why keep you alive for months? We thought for sure that you would be dead. Hecaton says that I believe that Slakrathel intended to absorb my power, grow in his strength, and by doing so, become true ruler of these seas. But he proved no match for these fine heroes who rescued me. All of them looked rather stunned at you guys. 6 small folk coming here with big dick energy and following up on it, it's remarkable.
Did we tell them about Slagrathel? Is that how
you did tell them that Slakrathel was the one who had him captured. You told him that Slakrathel had him bound on a ship in the ocean, because you guys found that out from the Eye of the Allfather, like episode 10 or some shit.
I think that's how we
Maybe a little later
them to let us go about and do what we did. It was like, we know this.
It was the first indication for a lot of them, particularly Uthor, who's the sort of military-minded one, that this was a big, genuine threat, and that this wasn't just a typical assassination attempt from the small folk. This was something much bigger than that. Hecaton stands tall. I have been told that there is a traitor within my court, and I intend to oust them. I have been gone for the better part of a year, and to know that one of the people within this room was responsible makes my blood boil. You hear, even almost a mile deep that you are, you hear the thunder rumbling above. He is scowling at them. He turns to you, the 6 of you. I have been gone for quite some time. I do not have pertinent information to this, nor do I have strong suspicions to go on. I ask that you 6 aid me in this investigation. You may question my advisors and daughters as you see fit. God.
Wow.
What do you guys do? Or who do you talk to? What do you say?
Davos needs a buddy.
Oh, is this right? Is this right now in front of everybody?
I was initially just gonna see if
I see.
A perception around the room, or specifically at the one we suspect, see how they responded on their face.
Was that Imelda?
If it was Mirren or Imelda.
We could all take individuals, or someone could try to read the room.
I was just a perception, see if anything.
Okay, roll a
Twitch.
This would probably be more insight based to try to see their reactions. Roll an insight check. I'll let 2 people do it.
I didn't mean to roll. If someone has better than a +3.
Who has that good insight?
Mine's pretty good, but Bergen's might be better. Yeah, Bergen's is better.
Jeez.
Wow! Wow!
I'll go ahead and hit.
Bergen sus.
And you hit a nat 20.
Jeez.
Sure.
Oh my god, this will be a short investigation. That's not entirely true. You are, of course, insight checks are not mind reading. You're trying to get a read of them. there's a few things you notice. While all of them were shocked to see Hecaton alive, you pick up on quite a few of their emotions. You see that Uthor, Hecaton's brother, feels more ashamed than guilty. He feels that he should have done more, should have, been the one to help liberate his brother, as opposed to sending small folk to do it. Sarissa seems genuine. You also did tell her about the traitor, and can ask her questions about that if you would like. Mirren and Nim both... Well, excuse me, let me do them one at a time. Mirren seems a bit flustered, very surprised to see her father alive. And you... with a nat 20 and a 30, you gather from your previous insight into her, your scrying and whatnot, that she does covet the throne. She has a motive. Nim is a little harder to read, the middle sister. Much calmer than pretty much anybody else you've met in this court. She seems uncomfortable, maybe at the accusations, maybe at the possibility of someone close to her being a traitor, but doesn't seem overtly guilty. Imelda also seems quite shocked at Uthor's return. You also, with a nat 20, you think it's also a little weird that she asked specifically what the Kraken's plan was. Why did he keep Hecaton alive? That's a weird way to phrase that. And that's the initial read you guys get for this. You can question people more. I will tell you guys, because I don't want to roll a bunch of deception checks and make it obvious when people are lying, or have to do it after anybody says anything, I've pre-rolled deception checks for the characters that are lying, and I am using that as sort of a baseline.
That's a very smart way to go about that.
Who do you guys choose to press for information?
I guess we can pretty much narrow it down to the sisters, yeah.
The sisters? Both of them?
Imelda,
or are you talking about
also
the advisor?
Yeah, Imelda is an advisor, I think.
I thought she sussed since the beginning, honestly.
But Imelda and the other one was Mirren, though, which is a sister.
Right.
I think it's the other one Spencer's referring to.
Yeah, Imelda didn't seem guilty, though, right? Yeah, Nim is like the big one for me. But
Imelda was the one that was shielded heavily, though, right?
Yep.
Imelda was shielded heavily.
That'd be like
You
a
can
normal
choose
thing
to-
too, though.
To the
You
room.
can choose to pressure on
Oberon
that.
wants to ask, where is the body of the queen?
Princess Sarissa looks a little surprised. Mother's body is in the rear room. And actually Hecaton jumps in, and he wants to ask, sorry, I wasn't planning for this quite yet. He goes,
Oberon also wants to know why she ain't been revived.
Well, he asks, she was spelled, I understand, but my court boasts the finest Jotun healers. She could have been brought back from death's grip within a 10-day. It's actually Imelda who speaks up and says, my lord, the same force that shrouded you concealed her as well. We searched across the seas for both of you, but by the time we found her, it was too late for our healers. Hecaton slams his fist against a wall and lightning arcs across the room. You should have done more! She loved the small folk, treated them well, and you should have sought their aid. Do you believe Imelda? You can roll another insight check. Again, 2 people.
Yes, sir.
If we want to have Goldbrand and Bergen as the insighty boys.
Oh, they
I
got
would
the
say
point.
so.
The old man
25?
and the cleric over here like,
27. Let me look at this thing. Okay. She seems to be genuine. They did indeed search the seas for them, and there was a force that was concealing Neri. You gather that that is true. After Hecaton says that the party should have done more, Mirren pipes up with, Father, when you disappeared, the ordering shattered. The giants left opportunities to raise their rank among our kind. Caelithica began leveling towns at will. Storvald pillaged dozens of coastal cities. Nim speaks up. Zalto scorched the earth and even managed to get the Vanindad running, albeit temporarily. The small folk have bounties on our kind, and for good reason. We can't exactly ask for help when we're tearing their country apart. And, to be honest, I'm not even certain if their best healers could revive a giant. Hecaton buries his head in his hands. gods! Sarissa, how I wish you had taken the throne and put an end to the madness of our kin, if nothing more than for your mother's sake. And Sarissa looks hurt. You'd have me trade your life for hers, and bear that guilt all my life? Do you not think she would say the exact same for you? Father, I was devastated, and still am devastated at Mother's death. I wasn't about to lose you too, let alone bargain with your lives. Not Goldbrand. Hecaton buries his head in his hands again and lets loose a low wail. My dearest Neri, my queen. The skies will weep with me for weeks in the want of you. Clouds shall blot the sun as I mourn, and never more shall the sun's beams bathe Maelstrom in their glow. Uthor steps forward, actually, and places a hand on his brother's shoulder. We've kept her body magically preserved in wake, hoping that you might be able to see her and say your final goodbyes. Hecaton nods his head. I will, but we have business to attend to first. Lords, who do you suspect among my court?
I mean, it's
My
just
mom-
Everybody
two,
at
right?
once. Well, I haven't voiced anything to him yet, so...
My money's
I just
kind of
wondered.
not Nim. Min? Nim?
What?
Nim or Mary?
Nim is the middle sister, this one over here.
She's
that
the
right?
one that we have the least notes on. Yeah. Miran's the one that's
Yeah.
hot tempered.
There are also a couple that you guys have found since. You know Miran through her temper tantrum. You know that Imelda is well warded. Nim overall just seems hard to read. She's very calm. Very even-keeled, we'll say. What do you, Lord, say to Hecaton?
Okay, so
We know it's a woman.
yeah.
Uthor! Whew.
So Mirian is the one you said earlier, though, covets the throne when you were talking about our insight checks.
Yes.
Okay. So I vote we do Mirian and Imelda or Mirian and Nim.
I say
Definitely
Imelda.
Imelda too.
Yeah, I feel like
I suspect
the person who was shrouded would like that's kind of like common practice among spellcastery people's.
What makes it a
I
good
don't know,
cover?
especially in like a high position like that. I imagine people in high position in courts all around this realm are shrouded magically.
Very good point.
But
What do you guys say?
I got the impression that she was exceedingly so. That's what I thought. Maybe I
Not
misinterpreted.
Brandon. Davos did pick up on the fact that it's weird that the sisters weren't warded, but Imelda was so heavily warded.
True. Mhm.
Y'all are welcome to interrogate them. You're welcome to ask them questions, and
I think
such.
we have to. We're not going to get anywhere otherwise.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
kind of how
We-
investigations work. Yeah.
Work is true. What are we gonna?
Does anybody have a cone of truth?
Yeah.
A zone of truth. Nobody within the court. No.
So
Giants
Goldbrand can't-
themselves are not known for their spell casting. It's not Granted, in this room there are a couple of spellcasters. Sarissa is a spellcaster. Imelda is a spellcaster. I think Nim is also a spellcaster. Miran and Uthor are not, but as storm giants have some capabilities.
We don't have anything in the bag of holding, like truth
Not for
serum.
truth serum.
It's a long rest effect spell.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
man.
could tie him up. Sorry.
No one leaves this room. Sleep in, lock in. Storm giant lock in.
I think maybe we start
Walking to the
seeing if
palace.
people want to answer questions before you decide to tie them up. I'm just saying.
Somebody ask something.
I don't know what to ask them.
Same.
I don't.
Let's think of something general that we could ask all of them first.
How do you?
I mean,
That's the
where
hard
were
one. How do
you
you-
when King Hecaton was taken?
Oh, you the night of the kidnapping.
Right.
Okay. I'll go down the line here. Imperator Uthor, I was within court with my brother. Since he's not a suspect, do you guys want me to skip him to save time?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Princess Mirren, well, I was practicing with Nim. We were working on our number. Nim nods her head. No, this is true. Sarissa, I was with my father when when I first heard the news of Mother's capture. I saw her in a vision, and as soon as I did, I went to find my father and tell him. Imelda goes, I was working with the architects. We were in the midst of building a new tower on the Southeast Seas.
I mean, we're gonna Berg and
Southeast.
Goldbrand
Yeah.
insight check
Insight checks. Yeah.
Show me the receipt.
across the board, or
On the last two is what I would like to do one for.
Sarissa and Imelda.
Yeah.
You guys can roll. We'll say a general. I'll let you do the group to save on time, so you guys don't have to make like 20 checks or whatever.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Bergen.
nat one.
Still a 14.
Goldbrand, is that 17 your most recent, or is that from the last
Yeah.
round?
Nah,
Okay.
it's most
With a 17, Mirren is very nervous. That's the only kind of you're questioning if she really was practicing, and that draws into question: was Nim really with her? Little unusual. You don't really pick up anything else with a 17.
I thought these were for Imelda. I'm sorry.
These are for the group altogether.
Oh,
So
I
Nim-
see.
But it's
I see.
but with a
Miriam is
17,
nervous
that's the
about
only
something.
sus you get.
I see. Miriam is nervous about something.
Nim
Okay.
didn't say whether or not she was.
She said she was.
Nim
with it.
said she said she was with Mirren practicing music when it happened.
It's both sussy. I want to ask Mirren, can you tell me the name of the piece you were working on that evening?
Mm.
We were working on an aria, a particularly challenging one, from Rigoletto.
Follow-up question, did you ever crack it? Do you feel like you perfected it?
Oh, of course, I perfect every piece I put my mind to.
Let's hear it.
I got a piece she can put her mind to. Am I right?
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's actually a good question. So you wouldn't mind playing it for us, would you?
I could certainly sing it.
Oh, it's a song. Got it. I thought she was.
Yeah.
Why did I think she played a
She's
piano?
Probably. It may
Well,
have been
she
that song
sings,
they were
her sister
singing.
Nim.
May have been that song they
Uh,
were singing when we first walked into the room, when we very first walked through here.
Oh.
You,
Insight check?
she seems confident in her abilities to sing the song.
And Nim plays an instrument, so I had those backwards.
Yeah, Nim plays it's a hulking crab that she hits it with like whalebone mallet, so it's like a
Got it.
percussion thing, but then it also breathes. Like when she hits different spots, different areas of the gills release air, and it moves to this coral that's built on the side of the crab to where it makes like a pipe organ. So it's like one part percussion, one part organ.
Okay, that's really cool.
It's pretty cool, actually.
Fine. So I'll look over at Nim and I'll say, and you said you were there. Do you feel confident that you mastered the piece as well?
She goes, I think there's always room for improvement. Especially, even when we feel like we couldn't be better, there is always areas to refine.
Tough cookies.
I might want to ask a few more direct questions and see who gets, answers.
You're saying
Rather than asking what pieces they
thinking
were.
of,
tiptoeing around.
Good question, though.
I was thinking of just directly messaging Nim with the cantrip.
Okay, what do you say?
Were you really there with Mirren when he disappeared? Was she really with you?
She looks a little surprised, and her gaze settles on you after a few moments, and you receive back telepathically. We were rehearsing, indeed. When we received the news of mother's death, and father sped off after her.
I kind of now want to ask if any one of these other 3 women have been acting strange leading up to his disappearance.
To Nim?
Yeah.
Interesting. She doesn't say anything. Make a perception check for me.
And this is message still.
Yeah, understood completely, yeah.
Okay. Just
Excellent. She doesn't think anything back, but you do see her eyes flick just ever so slightly toward Mirren.
okay.
Before you get a message back, no, things have been rather dull, normal, since Father's disappearance.
Alright, and in the midst of the next minute or two, I would message at least first Goldbrand and Bergen, hey, let's focus more on Mirren. Or, yeah, something like that. Nim seems to has hinted at Mirren. And I'm just, I'm psychically talking, but just kind of...
We're saying you can relay it to the whole party within the span of a minute, so,
Alright, so I'm doing that and y'all handle.
You all look to each other and exchange knowing glances one by one.
Zoomed in on the eyes, shifting.
Wistfully thinks of Tally.
I would say Nim seems to think it might be Mirren, is how I'd probably phrase that.
I think at this point, Goldbrand just wants to, I feel like eventually he gets, not super, sick of this shit, but he's like, this is hard, don't know why you small folk do this shit. He straightens up, turns, looks at Mirren, and says, what do you know about your father's kidnappings?
I knew nothing of it. Before he was captured, I knew not a thing.
Do I believe her?
Insight checks, roll them.
Can I use my inspiration on that?
You certainly can.
Yes.
Excellent. 25 and 18. You know she's lying. She definitely knew something about it beforehand. You're not sure what, but she definitely knew something was going down.
You tell untruths. Do you want to do this now in front of all of these peoples? If you continue to lie to us, things will only get worse for you if you continue to tell untruths.
I have done nothing wrong. I'm being accused of this in my own home. It's ridiculous. Father, why do you even trust these small folk? Hecate, well, they did save me from a kraken, so, there's that.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, being the oldest child, I'd be a bit disappointed if I wasn't next in line for the throne. And I say it slightly goadingly, if that wasn't clear.
Well, it's against custom. It's always been the oldest. The fact that Father chose Sarissa just shows that he has no faith in me. Or Nim, for that matter. And,
You are telling lies. You don't let liars sit on thrones.
No, Papa.
No, Papa. Oh, God.
Telling lies?
Press a little harder. You've asked her if she knew anything, and you gather she knows something. You don't know what, though.
I mean,
yeah, I've been trying to get her to tell us.
Are you trying to goad her into spilling her guts, like Law and Order style?
I mean, kind of.
I'll poke the bear.
I have.
I'll sort of kick back and say, with as hot a head as you have, I'd be a little afraid to leave you in charge while I was gone, too.
Oh, that's good. Roll persuasion check with advantage.
Okie dokie.
And advantage. 15's not bad.
Same.
Okay. With the 15, she goes, people, you see a storm cloud actually gather above her head and begin to crackle a bit. My temper is none of your business. There have been many rulers who have been swift to act, and if Sarissa had been swift to act, we wouldn't be in this situation. The ordning would have been temporarily shattered, but... What?
Wouldn't Hecate have died if Sarissa took the throne?
She goes, we did not know that father was captured at that time.
We. ...
Well, insight checks. Boop doop boop. All the inside.
Bergen, if you want to, yeah, but say Bergen, if you want to hit it, someone else wants to hit it.
Nice.
Wow.
With a nat 20 for a total of 33. Beautiful. You guys are pressing her pretty well. You gather, Bergen, that she not only knew about King Hecaton's abduction, you get the sense she's involved heavily. Like, she provided the Kraken Society with information. You're not exactly sure what information. It could have been where the queen was. It could have been when the king left. It could have been the Jotun runes that that were given. But she's hiding a lot of shit, and she's growing anxious. Her eyes keep darting to Nim.
Maybe it's something to press her too.
Yes, I look at Nim and ask her. I ask her, what's your lot in this? Why is she looking at you so much? You know something too. Spill your beans.
My sister is not very independent. She often finds herself more comfortable with myself or Sarissa. It is a codependency issue, likely from not getting all the attention when she was a child, and she sort of shoots her sister a bit of a dirty look.
I don't believe that shit.
16? Don't get too much with a 16. Goldbrand?
I don't know.
23! She does know something. You think that her and her sister cooperated in this endeavor. Again, you don't know to what extent, but they are both getting a little anxious. Even Nim, who's normally very level-headed, is starting to get a little rise.
Both of you now have incriminated the other to us.
Mirren immediately. It was Nim! Nim gave me the idea! And Nim immediately, like, I did not! You came to me asking for help! And, Mirren goes, I told the Kraken Society where Mother was headed. They were to deal with her, and I would take care of Father, and I was to get the throne, the way it should have been. And Nim was the one who told me. She's the one who put me into contact with him.
Ooh.
And Nim looks shocked. She's like, I did no such thing. I never met the Kraken Society. It was you who brought them to my attention. Insight checks.
Yes.
22. Ergen, they're both telling the truth.
They've
Interesting.
been bamboozled.
They both think the other one prompted the idea. but
What's
they definitely
Imelda been
cooperated.
doing during all this?
Standing, same as Uthor and Sarissa, observing.
Can Goldbrand take a
You could try to
read
make
of the room?
you could try to make a insight check on her if you would like.
If they both thought the other brought the Kraken Society into it, does that mean that the Kraken Society used them to...
It's a solid thought. Davos, do you
What
want to
it-
take that insight check? Or do you want me to?
If you voice
you
that
go.
aloud, Mirren goes, well, it's fuzzy. I can't recall how we met them or what the people looked like. And you see Nim, Mirren, you suggested the coup. You're the one who brought in the Lord's Alliance, or you're the one who brought in the Kraken Society, or at least I think you did. And they both seem kind of brow furrowed in consternation.
I tell Sarissa she can go. I'm afraid that one of the sisters might lash out in anger.
Sarissa takes a step back, doesn't leave the chamber, but she's beside. In fact, I'll go back to the map now that you guys.
Doesn't she have a scepter or
Krakens.
something too? Like, couldn't she like?
She
whip
dropped
all
it
of us?
actually. She dropped it actually when you guys came in.
I see.
In fact, Goldbrand, make a perception check.
Oh no! If you tell me one of them others have picked up that fucking scepter, I'll shit my brick. If it's not there, I'll shit my brick. Perception check. Oh, not right. Sorry.
Performance, much better. With a 21, the scepter's gone. You didn't see anyone make a move for it, but it's gone.
Where did your weapons go, princess?
in my surprise at seeing Father, I think I dropped it, and she begins to look around the throne and realizes it's gone as well. The room gets much more tense.
Is everybody accounted for? Like all the major people? Like
Yeah, all the major play. I'll tell you the traitors in this room.
Okay.
You still see the guards. You still see, all three of the sisters, etc.
Can I perception check to see if there's anything invisible? If not, I want to use that freaking dog we have in the bag of holding that has some ability like that.
First of all, good on you for remembering that. Are you just... You can't just see if something's invisible. Are you using a spell or an ability? Detect magic might be able to tip you off at that. I'm trying to think of what else. True sight, but I don't think anybody has true sight.
Goblin is fairy fire. You have fairy fire, but who knows where we would put it? It wouldn't fit the room, would it?
If the radius is big enough, it might... Well, granted, these squares are smaller than they appear. Or, excuse me, these squares are larger than they appear. I think they're like 10-foot squares.
And they're little tiny squares.
I don't have a spell, but yeah, the Onyx Dog of Wondrous Power, can it see invisible things?
It would search by scent, which is a step in the right direction.
Unless
Kaya
somebody
could
else
do something similar if you would like to save the doggy.
I can summon doggos if we want to burn a spell slot.
I mean, the dog's a one-use thing, right? Like, it shatters on use.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it technically dies when your target dies. But I will allow you in this instance to summon her just for the thematics
I just want to see if there's anything
you also
invisible.
have Sirius. I'm sorry, you have
That's
your
who I
faithful
thought you
Feyhound,
had.
Sirius, and Ember.
Also what I thought you meant.
Sirius sniffs around a bit. He doesn't seem to notice any active magical effects or anyone invisible within the chamber. There is a lot of magical items here. The throne itself puts off an incredible magical aura. The rod does as well, but it seems like almost all of these people, actually all of these people, guards included, have some type of magical items on them. Sirius didn't examine the rod before, so he's not exactly sure what type of magic it is to sniff it out, as it were. Yeah, Sirius doesn't think anyone's in the room.
Everybody drop your weapons. Pat down.
It seems that somebody has a weapon that does not belong to them. Scorpion won't put his axe down, but he's gonna, not even look at the dagger at his belt, made of a claw. It's an accessory. He's gonna put it on as a necklace. Not a weapon.
1 second. Okay. 1 second. Sirius, his head swivels toward Imelda, and he does a bit of a growl and some of his leaves rise up. You gather she's just cast a spell. Subtly, very carefully, but she has. Don't know what spell.
See what her spellcast focus is?
You can try to make a that is a good question.
Investigation.
I'm trying to think perception or investigation. Yeah, I'll let you take your pick. Probably perception for you guys.
I mean, I guess that wouldn't be Arcana.
That was the DC I said. Good job. I'll allow an Arcana check, actually. That's a good call.
Well, he already rolled. I can roll one if you want.
Well, yeah, go ahead and roll. We'll see if it's higher.
Nah, it's not.
Okay.
Sorry.
With a 20 perception, you asked what her spellcasting focus was. You don't notice anything overtly you don't see, most people have a pendant, something along their belt. They have a gemstone, a staff, a wand. You don't see any of that. I mean, yours is your necklace, Bergen's is his gauntlet, Goldbrand's got his tablet over there. Z, do you have a spellcasting focus?
No, I don't think.
But they could have
anything like that.
Wizards could have spell books, though, right?
They could. You do not see a spell book on her person.
Damn it!
How did you make the dogs, Mads?
What did you cast? Yeah.
What have you done? Yeah.
She goes, I've not cast anything. And she you can make an insight check. She
Coleman
goes,
snorts.
This is
snorts.
This is difficult. I almost want to like. Oh, it's too late to react. I almost want to like. I can't blanket like a dispel magic, but I almost want to like try and figure out what she did and see if I can undo it in that moment.
She
Does anybody feel funny?
I'll say Hecate asked you this. You said she made your dog mad. What do you mean?
He detects magic. She made some kind of magic he doesn't like.
He turns her head to her. Imelda, is this true? Imelda, my lord, I have cast nothing. I swear upon it. Roll an insight check. Yeah. Boop boopy doop boop.
Say
Welcome
stick
to insight
with, yeah, fucking the Bergen. Yes.
32! 32. A, she is lying through her teeth. B, you've noticed that while people have talked and sort of moved about the chamber, she has stayed fairly still, close to the throne. You lock eyes with her. And in that instant, she feels outed. And makes a move for the throne. I need everybody to roll initiative.
I was gonna say, can I cast Misty Step and grapple?
You're gonna grab a giant.
That's what I was gonna say.
Oh yeah, I forgot. She was a giant too. Never mind.
Goldbrand needs a crazy ass.
Slice
cool
her
item to do
Achilles.
that. Slice her, kind of like that.
I'm gonna use my inspiration and re-roll.
That's cool.
Initiative.
Kevin,
Oh
what'd you get?
god.
Goldbrand
I'll let you keep the
got
7.
Thank you.
Really.
Jeez.
Goldbrand got a 15.
Goldbrand 15. Oh, y'all did.
17.
Pandora
17?
got. Oh god, I lost it. A 15 also. Wow. Okay.
Arcanox. C'est bon. Thankfully, she did not roll very well.
Yeah, fuck her for doing this weird shit.
Let's see how that pans out. Hecate immediately, as Imelda starts to make a dash for the throne, Hecate swings out his arm and a lash of lightning appears, and he swings and wraps it around her. He's going to try to make a strength check to grapple her. Oh, he rolled poorly. She rolled better. She pulls through. Sarissa likewise does the same. She tries to grab at her. Oh, she did better. Oh, and she beat her by 1. Imelda's broken through twice. The princesses, both of them look shocked and confused. Neither one of them makes any aggressive moves as we go to Bergen. Bergen, what do you do?
Shit, I don't know. I'm not used to being like first.
Dude, you've been rolling hot all night. What are you talking about?
Could you command
Right.
her to come to you?
To come to
Oh,
me?
God.
Or yeah, like make her move, or
Death
I
by
don't know
Smith.
how-
Also, put your tokens on the map for me. You can put yourselves in front of Hecate.
Oh, yeah, right.
Don't put yourself like right up on her, because obviously y'all are interrogating a group. But
Command her to drop the scepter.
Jesus.
you're all so
Oh.
huge.
yeah, you could just say drop it, like because Wex made you drop a specific thing.
Does she have? Do we know she has it?
We don't know she has it, but I don't know if it would matter for the spell. If she didn't have it, it might fizzle out, and that
Why
wouldn't
would
stop her
she-
from running.
Why would she be running for the throne?
I imagine she wants to sit on it. Apparently, that makes them strong. According to
Well, you guys know if the way that the king is crowned, so to speak, they must wield the scepter and sit upon the throne, and they are
Oh,
placed at the
shit.
top of the ordning. It is the kingmaker. It is how they become the Storm King, as it were.
Oh god.
Kind of all giants.
oh gosh, this is Davos in the middle of all of this.
Indeed. Bergen, what do you do?
Commanding her is probably going to be tough anyways, because I'm sure she's got a high wisdom.
Could be.
I also have a high wisdom, though. P.S.
So it's up to you. If you have another way to crowd control her, do it. Like anything to move her or stop her.
Ice
I
wall.
could, let's see. Yeah, I was thinking that. I could try don't. You said somebody's already grappling her or attempted to grapple
No.
her?
2 people tried to lightning lash her, or
Lightning
lightning lure her, to like grapple her with electric rope, but it did not. She overpowered both of them. Very unfortunate.
I don't think my dome would be big enough to dome her. Is she bigger than 10 foot tall?
She's bigger than 10 foot! But really, put that spell in chat. Let me see it, because I'm kind of curious. It's a big dome. If nothing else, you could make a wall.
Yeah, I'm going to dome the throne.
Oh! How big is the dome?
A radius of up to 10 feet. So if
As
it's only
giants, the throne and them are both too large for this. If you were to do the wall, since it does say 10-foot squares, I would allow you to make, build those on top of each other to make a bigger wall between her and the throne. But that's entirely up to you.
Yeah, I don't know if walling off the throne is necessarily a good thing either. Shit. Could always just attempt to command her to grovel.
Also true.
Yeah, piss. I'm just gonna try it. Grovel, please.
The wisdom save?
Yeah. Oh, did I cast ceremony? Whoops.
Grovel ceremoniously. A 17 she meets. Oh, how unfortunate.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
You have a bonus action.
Bonus action. Oh, I can't cast my mace either. I don't think I can do anything with a bonus action since I cast the spell as a main action and it was not a healing spell. So I think that's all I can do.
Okay. You could try to get between her and the throne, but for a giant, you know, it's going to be hard to stop them.
That's okay. I'll do that anyways.
Okay. As you do that, we go to Imperator Uthor, who tries to grab onto her physically. Again, he's not a spellcaster, but he's going to try to grapple her. He rolled okay. She rolled in that one. He grabs onto her and pulls her back, but she somehow breaks free as she utilizes a legendary resistance. You don't know what she is, but she's scurry. With that, Goldbrand, what do you try to do?
Goldbrand has sweaty armpits.
Indeed! So does Bill.
Can Goldbrand reach her from here?
Yeah, you can get to her.
Interesting. I'm tempted to make her make a wisdom save too. The odds are not great. Why'd you add music?
That's not right.
That's not what I needed for this moment.
Well, you were saying, so I needed something.
I got you. Alright. Goldbrand will try to run and grapple her. I think that's what he would do before he would cast a spell. I can't rage.
Okay, do you want to roll
Yeah, that's athletics, right?
athletics or acrobatics? Your choice, yes sir.
I feel like you're naked without your rage.
Yeah.
Naked without your rage. Naked Rage sounds like it could be a band name. 16 athletics?
That's not great.
That's not great. So I don't see that she gets a particular bonus for athletics, so I'm just going to roll a strength check. 15. You grab onto her, and likewise, she manages to break through. She has these resistances. Pandora's turn. Unless Goldbrand has a bonus action he can utilize.
Not really if it's prevalent to this, besides
You guys would know that creatures you fought like this typically have 3 of these resistances. She likely has 1 more. Z, what do you do? Or, excuse me, Pandora, what does she do?
Oh man, I don't think Pandora has any real crowd control.
She has some. She can increase her density to make her heavier.
Get her slower.
Trying to think if she has anything to stop her from moving. She does.
Okay, hold on a second.
It's the moment where I'm like, I need the Final Fantasy abilities, like pinning shot and shit like that.
I don't know if I think Pandora might have used this. So this has reverse gravity. Is that correct?
It is indeed, yeah. She can do that as with some of her charges from her bow.
All creatures and objects that aren't somehow anchored to the ground in the area fall upward and reach the top of the area where you cast this spell. A creature can make a dexterity saving throw to grab onto a fixed object it can reach, thus avoiding the fall. This takes 3 charges. She does not have enough.
I will allow her to do it because she doesn't have much else in her arsenal. I saw that, but I wasn't going to say anything. Okay, you said dex check?
Yeah.
Or dexterity save, excuse me.
Save, yeah.
Okay. What does she have to beat?
Shit, I'm sorry. Give me a
No,
second.
you're fine. I think it's on the bow, actually.
Oh,
It
is it 'cause
does not
it's not hers?
Yeah, it doesn't say. I tell you what, I will say she's not a spellcaster. I'll give her a 16 DC.
Okay.
Melda.
Seems fair for a weapon like that.
Oh no. Gravity does flip, but Imelda, she can't grab onto anything though, because the only thing there is a chair, and it's going to go up. She passed the check. She begins to rise in the air uncontrollably. Several, probably 40 feet up, I think, is the height of this cylinder, for the one that she uses with the bow. So she is aloft in the air, but she is not stopped. You still have a bonus action, I think, if you would like to use it.
Is that everybody or just her?
I'll say that she placed it in such a way that it was just her. Yeah.
Well, I think it's pretty big. In a 50-foot radius, 100-foot high cylinder, centered on a point within range, all creatures and objects.
That's the normal spell. Her bow has a weakened version of it. It's like 40 feet by 20, I think, or 10 by 40.
Can she get Goldbrand? She wants to hit Goldbrand too.
If you want her to, she can.
Yeah, she's gonna hit Goldbrand too. Goldbrand's gonna float up there and fight with that bitch.
For sure.
Heard.
Y'all are this is a Storm King chamber, so it's pretty high ceiling. So you guys go about 40 feet up in the air and are suspended. With that, we go to Z. Z, you've got to stop this bitch. How do you do it?
She's stuck on the ceiling now, though, isn't she?
Well, she's not on the ceiling, but she's off the ground.
Goldbrand's right beside her now. The throne's like here?
Do it.
Correct.
Do it.
I mean, I don't want to like. I'm trying to think about how to stop her because I know she's gonna have good strength. Giants have good constitution. I almost want to cast a wall of fire, like in a circle around her, just to be like, "Don't move." Or
she is in the air.
Yeah,
so
I know. I think it has to be anchored to solid surfaces.
You could put it around the throne, but not around her, unfortunately.
It might stop somebody else from getting to it, but I guess I could always drop it if I needed to. Yeah, I think for the sake of it, I'm gonna, just to try and slow her down, I'm gonna ring the throne in a wall of fire.
Fantastic. What's the height on that?
It is. Oh crap.
And what's the length as well?
It's 20 feet high, and then I can either do a ringed wall up to 20 feet in diameter, or I can do 60 feet long. I'm just gonna do the 20-foot diameter, I guess, or close to it.
20-foot diameter would be pretty much perfect. I'll even say, if you want to upcast it, I will allow you to make it 20 feet taller for every level. I don't know if you can upcast that one. It might already have an upcast thing. I'm not certain.
Yeah, I probably will make it a little bit taller just for the sake of knowing that they're floating up in the air now, which might allow people to move in a direction I did not intend. So let me do that. I'm going to cast it at 4th level.
Sure. Do it. The wall springs into existence around them. She is on that side. She is going to have to make a dex save. She rolled a 19, so she passes, but she does take half that damage as the searing heat gets her for a few points.
And then, I can't remember how it works, but as my bonus action, I actually think I want to, I don't know if it's going to work because she's in the air. I want to summon Kaya because I know that she can also grapple people if she gets a bite attack in, but...
You know that the area of effect reverses gravity for every creature, so if you put Kaya there, she will drift up to that same height. You could certainly do it.
Yeah, but I just don't know how a grapple attempt would work in the air. I mean...
Yeah, it's a little fucky.
Could he not summon it on the ceiling? Is it a place he can see?
It's again, they're not at the full ceiling. This chamber is probably close to 100 feet tall.
The spell says they fall until they reach the other end. Like, I believe this is intended to do fall damage. Oh, I see what you're saying by the
if you're
cylinder.
in a shape room that's small enough, yes. I'll look it up, but I'm fairly certain.
I think that means like you can get everybody in this area, but once you hit them, they flip. They fall because the spell says
So listen. It reverses gravity in a 50-foot radius, 100-foot high cylinder, as per the original spell. That means at the top of that 100 feet, that is the maximum level of effect. It reverses gravity up to that point. And at that point, they kind of just bob there. There's no, if a solid object, such as a ceiling, is encountered in this fall, falling objects and creatures strike it as they would during a normal fall. Because think about it, if you were to use it on something outside, would it just drift up into space? No, it has a maximum level of effectiveness.
I got you, you're right. Okay.
But good thinking. Josh?
Hang on, let me do one more thing. As a bonus action, I can cast, how far does it go? It's difficult to say. I kind of want to.
You've also cast a spell this turn. You cast Wall of Fire, so you can't cast a second spell.
Right. As a bonus action, I can use Whirlwind. I think I get that back with a short rest, but I can't be confident. Just to see if I could try to.
I think you do.
Hit her and also blow her away from the throne, since she's floating up that
I'll also tell you, you could conjure an elemental that might be able to do something here. For what it's worth.
I looked at him and it was difficult. Wait, is that a charge? Like a free? Oh yeah.
I think the conch gives you one a day, yes sir.
Okay.
But you do know the spell to use for spell slots too. Oh, since it's the conch doing it, I don't know if it casts casting a spell.
That's why I was curious because
it's using an item.
I was originally.
I would say
that, but
I would say you could do that even though you've already done that this turn.
Okay, in that case,
spell this turn.
I will summon the Spirit of the Wind to try and do my bidding.
Excellent. It gets its own. It moves on your initiative, so it gets to act now. What do you tell it to do?
I'm gonna tell it to use Whirlwind.
Where do you place it?
Like right here. I think it's only like a 5-foot area, maybe. This is the first time I'm using this. Each creature within 5 feet of the elemental. Yeah.
Bloop. Oh, he's a big tornado-y boy. Make him nice and tiny, just like you guys. Bloop, 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 bloop. Fantastic. What kind of check is that? Is that a dex or a strength?
So, this is interesting. It's technically a strength saving throw concerning the damage, but then there's also this other bit where if the target's... Oh, never mind. It won't matter because if they pass the strength, the second part won't matter. So I'll cast this out so you can see. His strength is 13, which is not great because I think she has like a plus 50.
It's... Oh, actually, she's not proficient in strength saves. She still gets to add a good bit, but it's not a given. Oh no, unfortunately, she does pass the wind. But, well, you know what? I'm going to make her make it at disadvantage because she's not on a solid surface. Boop. Where'd my strength go? Fuck. 26, unfortunately. The wind buffets her a bit, and she does shift a bit in the cone. Goldbrain, do you have Sentinel? Does anybody have Sentinel?
No.
Didn't think so. I am going to say that this buffeting of her does move her to the end of initiative to where Ark and Davos can also make an attempt. Because it's kind of shitty that, you guys rolled one lower and didn't get the opportunity to, so I will allow it. Arkanox, what do you try to do to lock this bitch down?
Okay, about how high is she off the ground right now?
About 40-ish feet. 40 feet is the height of the cylinder. She's kind of bobbing at the top of that. I'd say 30-ish feet off the ground. Okay. But you know that you could go into that sphere and rise, or that cylinder and rise up as well.
Actually, that's a good idea. I'm gonna run into the cylinder, and then I'm gonna throw Dredge to try to grapple her, because that's kind of my.
You guys watch as Ark, having worked with Pandora for a long time and being familiar with her abilities, jumps and it almost seems like he flies, like he just takes off Neverland style. He gets up there and he swings around Dredge. Roll an attack roll for me. That does hit. Fantastic. So she takes some damage. She is grappled and restrained. You still have a bonus action. Oh wait. No, she can't use a resistance on that because it's not a save. Does it make them make a save? Will you drop it in chat for me? The what is it? More or
to like click into it and go and click display in VTT, like after you click into the item to get like the description of the item.
It does say DC 16 strength save.
That's true.
I think that's for a different ability, but I'm looking. In place of an attack, you can make a ranged attack as target within 20 feet. Target takes damage and must make a DC 16 strength save. Okay, she's gonna make another, again at disadvantage because she's off the ground. Oh, she is unnaturally strong, even for a giant. She is rather fearsome. She's trying to pry her way through. You still have a bonus action, technically.
Actually, I think I'm just gonna brace myself for right now. Like, when we get back on the ground, I'm gonna try to, like, become her cankles and grab her leg, I guess. That's really all I can realistically think about right now.
I will say this, because it doesn't specify in the ability. Your drop anchor roots dredge to a location. I think that is a bonus action.
Ooh, it is. I'm gonna try to be real stealthy. I'm gonna tie the chain around her leg and then drop that.
Sure. You manage. I'll say make another attack check with it because you're trying to, maneuver chains around her. She's gonna try to resist. So roll another to hit. 29. Fantastic. You do manage to get the chain around her leg a bit, and you watch as the chain and the anchor at first are taut, and then Ark lets go, and they're affixed there. She tugs and tugs, but she is bound. She doesn't even get to make a save off of that this turn, so...
It says she can make
doesn't get to make one this turn.
Yeah, she can make a 30 strength check to move it, but,
Yeah, and only 10 feet, which is cool. With that, we go to Davos. Davos, you see Imelda bound in these chains, 30-ish feet off the ground. What do you do?
So she's restrained for now, yeah?
She passed, I think, her check to be restrained. She is immobilized.
Technically, she's like just shackled to a ball and chain kind of thing.
It doesn't say that they're restrained, but I would say that there's definitely an argument to be made for that. So yeah, I'll say she's restrained.
Alright,
I'm gonna cast Hypnotic Pattern.
Ooh. What's the save on that?
15 on a Wisdom. Let me,
Wisdom 15?
See.
She be a smart-ass bitch. This eruption of fireworks goes up, but doesn't seem to have any dominant effect on her. You still have a bonus action.
I guess, the Rapier? I can attack with that once? Or no?
You can, make a Wisdom or an Intelligence check for me. Beat, 15. Actually, I'm gonna say make it with advantage because you know something. Only one thing, but you know it. Fantastic. You, as a spellcaster, have access to teleportation magic, but you know it relies on a point you can see. You're frozen, so I can't tell if you're processing that or...
I was processing. I wanted to use Light of Lathander, but I didn't think I'd be able to reach her.
You could get into the cylinder to rise up a bit if you would like.
If you're saying I can use it, that's what I want to do.
Go ham, dog.
That's the damage, and
in fact,
it's
DC 16. I'm going to say she has disadvantage because she is sort of locked into facing one direction. You said con save? Con?
Yep. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Odds aren't great.
I know.
Ooh, unfortunately, just she's very persistent. That's your action and bonus action.
So
she gets to her turn. She's gonna try to break out of, or move rather. Sorry, thank you. Yes, half damage. So that would be what? 9.
Yeah.
She is gonna try to make a strength check to get out of it. Bad news for her. She only gets a +9 to her strength. Bad news for you guys. She has a legendary resistance and is going to use it to pass that save. That is her last legendary resistance. She can only pull it 10 feet. She pulls it... In fact, Davos, Goldbrand, you both get an attack of opportunity. I will allow you to use a grapple instead of a regular attack. As does Uthor's not in the cylinder with you.
Oh boy, I'm going to take that attack of opportunity. So I dropped my axe earlier. Did I pick it back up or not?
We'll say you stowed it rather than dropping it. So you're making an attack rather than trying to grapple? Because I did say you could do that.
I'm sorry. I would do that instead. I did not hear that.
Okay.
That's my
No,
fault.
you're good. I was a little surprised. Like, Devin always wants to grapple. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah.
A 14 athletics.
That's okay.
That's not great. No. Lucky for you, her stats there aren't terrific. Disadvantage because she's in the air. No, she's pulling through. Davos, do you want to make an attack?
I did. It was for a 22.
22 does hit. She does take a bit of extra damage. Bing. As she pulls herself, Z, I'll let your air elemental do an attack of opportunity as well, or a grapple of opportunity if you would like.
And I'm double mute.
I cannot heat.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, might as well. It's not gonna hurt anything.
Okay.
I don't.
You doing the grapple or the attack?
I guess I'm gonna try grapple. His strength is garbage, but
That's okay. Roll athletics or acrobatics. So either a strength or a dex check if it doesn't list anything in particular for those.
oh man.
Unfortunate. Disadvantage for her. Unfortunate. She pulls herself the 10 feet. She comes into contact with the searing flames. They burn her flesh. She pulls just past this... Or actually, how big is that cylinder again? With this...
It's 20 feet, but it's 40 feet high now, I think.
Let me look at it. 20-foot radius, 40-foot high cylinder. You are correct. So, if she's in the very center, she just barely gets at the bottom of it. She hits the ground. She is... That uses all of her movement to do that. She reaches out, but she's just a little short. The anchor is still holding her. In fact, since she only pulls at 10 feet, even if she leaves the area of effect, she'd still be the 30 feet in the ground. She can't quite lay a hand on the throne. Hecatan, or wait, does she do an action? Was it an action to move your dredge?
I think it was an action to try and get out of the
A
crowd.
creature can use its action to move it 10 feet, yeah.
Oh, we lost.
Interesting. With that, Hecaton's gonna try once more to grapple her. He got a lightning lure her. Excuse me. He does manage to get a lightning lure on her. She's used all 3 legendary resistances, so she's lightning lured and she's anchored. Sarissa's gonna do the same thing. She is less lucky though. Hers does not hold. Both of the princesses just look stunned and do not make any actions. Bergen, you have an opportunity to stop her. She is inches away from it. You know if she gets another opportunity to go, she's going to make contact. What do you do?
Fuck it. Ice wall.
Excellent. Wall of ice raises around the wall of fire, cutting her off. In fact, it's kind of cool because the wall of ice actually backlit by the flames, so you still see a bit of the light flashing through it. With a hefty chunk of damage. Oh, actually,
Yeah, there's
she
a fire
sees the
hydrant here
ice.
somewhere.
She sees the ice start to rise, and she looks at you with a sneer and snaps her fingers, and the ice shatters, counterspelled. You do know she only gets 1 reaction a round, so you've expended that reaction. She's used all 3 of her legendary actions.
She ain't got a roll for that.
What level is Ball of Ice? She's casting it at a 4th level, but I don't know if that's... Maybe double check
Ball
that.
of Ice
Yeah,
is
4th level.
brilliant.
Technically 6, I think.
6.
What?
She does. So she's rolling it as a 4th level. She gets to add a +1 to that, I believe. Let me pull up Counterspell actually to be certain.
I think it is a 6th level spell. You're right, Bergen.
Bergen's got them big guns.
It's the rank.
This gives me an idea for a
It's still
Song
a
of Fire
16.
Night.
It's still. Shut the fuck up. Okay, so her upcast doesn't actually affect the check in any way. She has to make a spellcasting ability check, and she has to beat a 16. Let me pull her up. Hers is charisma. Is that correct? Let me check that. This pause brought to you by contemplation. Charisma is her thing. Is it a save or is it just a check? Let's see, shall we? Ability check, yeah. So charisma ability check, gotta be the 16. She pulls through. She is tenacious. The wall shatters and shards of ice go flying across the room. You have a bonus action. What do you do?
Can I sit
Cry.
in the chair?
Sit in the chair and cry, yeah. Imperator Uthor, he comes up, he rises up in the air too and tries to grab onto her. He rolled fairly well. She did not do better, so he also has a hand on her. Uthor has a hand on her. The anchor is still affixed to her. Hecaton has her in a lightning whip. Golbrand, you see she's pinned on 3 sides, but you know that she's a wily one. What do you do?
Damn, there's not much I can do.
Constellation
I can try to grapple her
Dragon.
and drag her away. Yeah, that's for like. I don't think I have a constellation that will help me grapple and drag her away. I could try to cast a spell on her, but her wisdom save is gross.
Didn't you have some kind of black hole thing? Or am I crazy?
Yeah, but she has to attack.
It's only when he's hit, yeah.
I don't know. I wish I knew more math. Wish I knew what the highest mathematical probability was between the two. I get that +10 to an athletics check, so I technically can attack her twice. So I will try to grapple her twice and see if I can move her away.
Fantastic. Disadvantage. Oh, she rolled an 11 that time. Oh, excuse me.
Oh, come
Yeah,
on.
she rolled an 11 that
You
time.
rolled an
You had-
11.
I will
You
move
grabbed
my
a hold
whole
of her.
movement speed, which is 45 speed, so 45, so halved. So round up, so I move her 20 feet back.
No, she's 2 sizes bigger. Does that matter for you?
No, because I'm
Does
a goal.
stretch matter?
Okay.
Oh, that's a good point.
You're not
Oh,
gonna make-
that's an excellent point. Yeah, Devin, make a strength save and see if you can beat a 30. You might actually. You
Golbrand cannot. That doesn't. It doesn't. He's not. He's not.
Your strength save is at 10 or more?
He's not proficient.
Are you proficient in Dex?
No, you don't get the proficiencies. Like I started as druid, so I don't have any of the physical proficiencies.
But you don't get that when you multi-class? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Rip. Alright. Unfortunately, you grab a hold of her, but you can't pull her.
That's
you
okay.
have a bonus action.
Can I use my second attack to smack her with the dagger?
Sure, 100%.
Aim for the scepter.
Flap!
Excellent shot.
I don't.
Yeah, go.
Can I see it? Can I take it from her instead? Can I grapple her again?
You,
take it
you
from
do
her?
not. You do not see the
see it.
scepter. If you want, you can make a perception or investigation check.
I can't stop her from sitting down. Just go smack her. Is that a
Okay.
a 16? So close. All
A
right.
16? Where did you
Yeah,
see?
that's like
Oh,
what
for
I
the crit.
rolled.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, I was looking to see if I crit.
She does take the 9 points of damage. Actually, that's a non-magical item. She only takes 5 points of damage.
This is a magical item.
It is not. Oh, it's a +2 item. You're right. No, yeah. So she does take the 9. Okay. If that's all you got, that's all you got. We move to Pandora. Shit's getting hairy. What does Pandora do?
Gorban swigs his force water as a free action. Pandora will. She doesn't. That was all her real crowd control. Did she start wailing on her? Did she start?
Indeed, yeah.
Guess she started shooting at her. She's gonna do that once, right?
Oh yeah. Go ahead and
Yes.
fire sneak attack.
She right.
hide and then if I hide and then sneak attack.
Make a stealth check. Yeah, she has a very high perception, but go ahead. I will say this: her perception score is higher than Barbara's stealth score, but we'll see how that pans out. Bitch, that's not what I clicked.
Barbara just rolled a 10. That's the lowest she can possibly roll.
No, stop it, you bitch! I'm clicking the little red dice. Stop being dumb. Yeah, that's what I thought. Funny, she also... Oh, she rolled a 9, excuse me. She sees Barbara, but Barbara can still make a shot. 9 piercing damage. Yeah. As we go to Z, dire last moments. She seems to be fairly well held, but you're not sure how long that will hold. Especially for a spellcaster that might be crafty.
What?
So I would, real quick, like to make a point of order. She can move 10 feet with Dredge. Goldbrand can pull her like just 10 feet far away from the.
If you make a DC 30 strength save, you can move her. You can move the anchor 10 feet. Yeah.
You can kind of
we can't move at all. I see, unless you do that. I got you. Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
So she's not like full grappled. It's taken an army of people to sort of grapple her.
Well, she's grappled. She's grappled and restrained with the anchor, the lightning lure, Uthor, and I think Goldbrand now too. There's a bunch of people on her. But you saw, actually, just the other day, or just earlier this day, Wex Misty stepped out of the chains and used that to avoid having to make the check.
What size is she?
She is huge.
Too big.
As
Who size is bigger than us?
As was quoted in the movie of Deuce Bigelow, European Gigolo, as a man bitch! She is. She huge. What you do, dog?
I don't have much I can do that's not gonna like hurt the other people there.
You can tell she's looking a little anxious about the situation. She's lost the element of surprise. You guys caught her before she could make a subtle move. Goldbrand asking about the scepter really ignited that kindling.
I forgot about it too. Like for some reason I was like, doesn't she have a hammer? Like I remember the art of it. I was like, does she have a thing?
My spell slots are getting pretty garbage. I think at this point, as far as like my primary action, I think I'm just gonna do an attack because I think that's the best thing I can do.
Okay. What do you use? Ooh. You have something that can make it more difficult for her to pass some of these checks.
Yeah, that's actually what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna. I don't know if it's gonna work, but I think I'm gonna cast. I can't cast Synaptic Static because I'll freaking blow up my whole party. But when I leveled up, I did swap one of my abilities to Bane. So I guess I'm gonna use it. Oh,
yes, sir. Okay. Drop that in chat because I think that's ability scores or ability checks, saving throws, and attacks. Attack or a saving throw. Okay, saving throws is mostly what you guys are making her do, so that's perfect. That is a charisma saving throw. 21. She just barely resists the spell. As we go to Arc, you feel like you've got a good hold on her, but she managed to pull it a bit.
I think if
what do you do?
If I can, before we move on, I think it's my bonus action just because Hail Mary or whatever, and I think technically do I get to use the Wind Spirits here too? I don't know. I think I'm gonna summon Kaya and just try to do a bite attack to further help the grapple.
To grapple her?
Yeah.
Yeah, bite her. Roll that check.
So it is advantage because there are allies within a certain distance, so I'm going to try that again.
She has pack tactics. 10 foe.
Where are you at? Here you go.
Little Hellhound Kaya. Rawr.
Wait,
14 does not. It rolled a few of those. A 14 does not hit, unfortunately.
Well, the thing is, that first one was without.
Oh, advantage.
The second one was the advantage. She rolled a nat 20.
You're right. Yes, fucking sir. Does she get to make a save against that, or is it if it hits, it grapples?
I think she has to make a save, but I've never actually had it. I think she has to maybe beat her strength, which is a 17 plus 3.
17. Let me.
I'm trying to look up the rules because I can't remember.
Oh, it's not a it's actually it's not a Hellhound feature she's using. It's a Direwolf feature from her original form.
Right. That's the
She
one.
does retain that. Obviously, I'm not gonna take that away. But
Okay, that's why I was looking in the wrong place. I was like, I know I've seen this, but I can't find where the rules are on it.
it says a DC 13 strength.
Okay.
What's her strength? Do you see it?
17.
Okay,
I don't
so
know
if
if it
the
matters.
strength is the same, so the check will be the same. She will make this at disadvantage because of pack tactics. And strength isn't her best score. Unfortunately, not enough, though. She is hanging on. Arcanox, what do you got, dog?
Okay. In Arcanox's limited knowledge of fighting giant, this has always kind of worked. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to leap onto her shoulders.
Fuck yeah, get it.
Like, boom. See here. I think more of this than I don't expect this to do a whole lot of damage, but more in just kind of like dissuade her from kind of keep struggling. I'm gonna use my breath weapon.
Get it.
Straight onto
Roast
the back of her, right onto the back of her head.
Burn that bitch's hair. That weave is fake as fuck. That is a deck save. Deck save. 14, she fails. So she takes all 14 damage.
And I'm gonna stay standing on her shoulders, by the way.
Okay. Davos. Last moment.
Yeah,
Do you think
I'm
there's
going. I'm gonna try the Lathander as well again. Did it roll it or just say it?
a 13? I think that's a fail. Yeah?
Yeah, let me roll it.
She is blinded. She can no longer Misty Step to it, which is a huge advantage. Constitution save. Yeah.
That's
And 13,
13.
okay.
She's blinded, and I will actually cast slow
Fuck her up,
as
fuck her up.
well.
Oh, okay. Very interesting.
It's a DC 15. -2 to
DC
AC.
15 on Wisdom?
Yes. Damn it!
You guys are getting the idea. She's much stronger than you realize. As we round to her turn, the lightning lure around her wrist to King Hecaton, Uthor grabbing the other wrist, Gulbran at one leg, Arcanox on her shoulders, Kaya, the spirit, Davos Bergen, all of you just hounding her. And she looks around and she realizes she sees the wall of fire. She realizes that she's not going to be able to get to it. She's blinded. And you see her laugh. And as she laughs, her mouth grows unnaturally wide. Serpentine, almost, as several jagged teeth appear within her mouth. I need every one of you to make a wisdom saving throw for me. Fail.
I do have advantage against being frightened, if that's what this is.
Man.
That is. Yeah, roll with your advantage. So far, everyone has failed. I need a Pandora and I need
that
a...
ain't-
Pandora rolled an 18.
18 fails. All of you are deeply frightened of this creature. I'm going to do one quick thing. Hecaton and Sarissa fail. The sisters fail. And all of you in this chamber are terrified
Makes
as
sense.
her neck elongates and she transforms into this massive blue dragon. She lets loose a burst of lightning breath. Actually, no.
Do we have to run being frightened?
With frightened, you can't move closer to her, and you have, I think, disadvantage to hit her. You have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls while it's in your line of sight, and you can't willingly move closer to her. Unfortunately, that doesn't matter. Her eyes still blinded, milky white and enormous, her form filling up most of this chamber. You see as she grabs around blindly, but does not seem to find the throne that she needs. And with a snarl, you watch as From the top of this is a very large pointed chamber, glass windows that reveal the ocean beyond, and from the very top of the chamber, a lightning bolt comes down and strikes her. And in an instant, she's gone. You have forced her to flee without the throne. She does have the ruling scepter, which means Hecaton cannot take the throne. We're gonna take a break and come back in about 5 to 10. Yeah, fun shit.
You can kiss like my dick hole, Joey Nicolella.
Alright, bitches. Looks like we scared Devin off. Now we can talk shit in peace.
Yeah, he was stressing right before we logged off.
What's the deal with Goldbrand not wild shaping into something that can restrain a giant? Come on, what are you doing?
He can do a couple of dinosaurs. I don't know how grappling would work for them. Because, you know,
I mean,
no hands.
Dinosaurs have claws. Surely those would grapple.
Yeah. I don't think he could turn into a raptor. I forget which ones he can shift into. But
is this the same blue dragon that Medusa stared that giant?
Mayhaps. If you want, I'll allow Davos to make a perception or a history check. In fact, I'll allow any of the OG 3 lords to make perception or history. Oh, a 20 solid. I'm assuming that Devin and Spencer are with us. I probably should have. Okay, there's a Spencer, so I know he's at least local.
He's still scared out of his mind.
Aren't we all?
Yes.
We're all scared. It's the human condition.
Like, what's the point of?
You're right, though.
Like, why would you frighten us just to disappear? It's spooky.
You're technically half elf.
Tried to keep you from getting closer to her was her main initiative with that.
I don't think she's gone. I think she blinked to get her bearings, and she'll be BRB.
Or do you think she'll wait us out? Goldbrand. Oh wait, he can't hear yet.
I feel like now's a good time to let the party know that I have almost no spell slots left. Good luck.
Yeah.
Goldbrand, you gotta roll a perception.
Perception or history, your choice.
If that was the blue dragon,
Davos is right.
Scared.
It will definitely be perception, because Goldbrand's history is garbage.
Yep. Not with a nat 20. With a 20, Davos, you recognize this dragon. The size of it, the scale, the memory comes to you of that encounter in the Eye of the Allfather. Not only do you know that this dragon, and you piece it together rather quickly. You know that you've heard this dragon's name because you were told by several people. Imrith, the Doom of the Desert. A rather infamous dragon, also known as the Dragon of Statues. The crew of the Westwind Wyvern told you that this was the same dragon that attacked the Eye of the Allfather, petrified Harshnag, and then dropped him on Nightstone. You may recall from Naxine that the Doom of the Desert, with a 20, you do recall that when you talked to Naxine in Goldenfields, the dragonologist, that she told you the Doom of the Desert lived in the Anarok Desert to the far east. Goldbrand, you've seen a desert stadium filled with statues in your visions of prescience and glowing blue eyes watching you from the sand dunes. If you share this aloud, Hecaton is furious. She did not get the throne, so things are not all lost. However, her having the scepter prevents me from restoring the ordning. I cannot retake the throne without it.
Can we hide the throne?
It's a good question.
We can attempt to. Imelda was one of my closest advisors, skilled in all things arcane.
Yeah, I can see why.
This chamber is this chamber is supposed to be guarded from teleportation, but she was the very one that placed these sigils. As such, she probably left herself an escape.
Could we...
That's fucked up.
I don't know if I would know how to properly do that. Like, look for missing...
None of you know how to ward from that from teleportation. You could make an Arcana check, if you would like. We'll see what comes of that. I'll allow 2 people to make an Arcana check.
Probably Z, huh?
Yeah, Gobrand's would be worthless.
He's got that
I'll give one.
that
Got a plus
spell.
5, I think.
Hey, look at that.
Hey!
Boys.
So, just having learned some teleportation magic yourself,
Point.
you're not familiar enough to understand how it functions. Your keep was protected through from teleportation by Bergen and Donovan, who placed sigils and runes and gemstones around the keep to prevent teleportation in or out. You're aware that as such, the people casting, since Imelda was the one who put it here, she probably does have a back door. You could not identify it with your current level, unfortunately. With a 20, I will say, you gather it was a genuine teleportation. She's not invisible. She hasn't poofs nearby, as far as you can tell. The spell she used strikes her with lightning, and then it strikes lightning where she is teleporting to. You did not hear or see a second burst, and therefore you gather that she is not within the immediate area.
Cool. Yeah, I'll relay that, but that doesn't stop her from coming right back in, I don't guess. At some
Right.
point.
That's. Can we? Yeah.
That is
Hecate, there are others among my people who are spellcasters. I will see if we can't replace these wards and guard against her. In the meantime, Uthor, I need 10 men on this throne room at all times. Uthor nods, and he barks at the Maelstrom Giant Guard. Orlecto, gather some of the men. In fact, I want 10 men here, and I want 4 more ready to hunt out. Sarissa says, since you guys mentioned the Desert Stadium, that I can try to scry that. I have a scrying pool in the back. Actually right here in the center of the room. She goes to this large pool and touches it, and a ripple goes out, and as it reaches the end, it reveals a ruined Colosseum covered in small sand dunes and littered with broken columns and archways. Countless small statues litter the sand, many of them half buried in the sand dunes. Uthor looks at it and goes, "This is Azkor, the dwarven ruins on the northern edge of the Anarok. I have been there before. Unfortunate circumstances. That was decades ago. Hecate, Uthor, I want you to gather 4 of your finest soldiers and take the Orcas to the Whalebone Islands. Retrieve the rocks and fly to Anarok." Uthor nods his head dutifully and says, I will have my men armed and ready in 20 minutes. It will take us 3 days to get to the ruins from here, but I should have known, just like a snake to hide amongst the sands. And he storms out of the chamber. As he exits, Uthor, Hecate kind of hangs his head, and may the strength of Strolnas be with you, brother. We'll need it. Small folk, I appreciate your aid this day. Had it not been for you, she may have got a hold of the throne, and if so, she could have restructured the ordning. And for a dragon to sit upon it, I do not even know what that would do. She could place all of dragonkind within the ordning's magics, place them above the giants, and us subservient to her. While today is no clear victory, it is no great loss either. I cannot command my people in this state, and I have asked so much of you, but if you can help put an end to her, and retrieve that rod, I will restore the ordning, and put an end to the madness that is being caused here. He does give you a, it's a Claw of the Worm rune, which I'm going to picture as like one of the Skyrim claws you get in the dungeons. He says, this will help you fight against the dragon, and also protect one of you at least from its damages. I'm going to paste this in your chat, and I want y'all to know, while, so there's an ability on this that lets you use an action to, let me put this in the bag of holding, actually. There's an ability on this that lets you use an action to make the dragon make a Constitution save. As written, it's a DC 15. Most dragons have a very high Constitution score. I will tell you, if it were still a 15, there would only be a 5% chance that she would fail, and that's only because in that one, her total would actually exceed the 15. So we're going to make that DC 21 instead. That gives you a 25% chance, but if you're successful, she is vulnerable to all damage for the next round. Meaning you guys get to inflict some heavy damage. It does cost an action to use that, and the person has to be attuned to it. Keep that in mind. At this point, Hecaton looks about the space. We must find her, but I wish to see my wife. Sarissa nods her head, and she's down the hall to the right. And Hecaton begins to go. He stops halfway, and he looks back at you, Bergen, and goes, Holy man, I would ask that you provide me counsel in this moment. I gotta scroll real quick. You guys follow Hecaton into a dark room, tall windows that show the sea beyond and meet at a curved point at the top. Only the faint light from the moon above manages to shine through here and illuminates a shrouded figure atop a gorgeous spiral seashell, some 40 feet across and 15 feet off the ground. Stop that. There we go. Queen Neri lies in wake, a veil of the finest black silk draped over her. Hecaton approaches, and each of his massive steps sending out vibrations, echoing off the dome ceiling. And with a trembling hand, you see him pull back the shroud, revealing Neri's gray-violet skin and painted lips. Eyes closed, long white hair that reaches almost the entire length of her body tied in two neat braids. The only light in here seems to be from that dim moonlight and the jellyfish outside that are just dimly glowing. It's difficult to watch, for all of you. You think of the people that you've lost on this incredibly long journey. Z, your entire tribe. Lost. And yet, in this moment, you feel an ember of appreciation for them, knowing that they are still with you. Golbrand, you think of the death of your battle brother, Kavan, as well as the elder chief Moonmusk, your sons and daughters who have fallen before this day. Ark, you think of your crew upon the Wailing Wyvern, and all those that disappeared beneath the tides. Even Davos and Pandora, this was not supposed to be a dance breakdown of this song, but that's alright. Even Davos and Pandora, while your father and sister turned out to be alive, you are not unfamiliar to the sense of loss and dread that Hecaton is experiencing. And Bergen, you think of your mother, and the tragedy of that day within Helm's Court, within Helm's Temple. You think of how much you've grown since then, and how if you could go back, you could protect her, heal her, even revive her. Part of you wonders that if she had survived, would you have been so dutifully set on your path? Would you have joined the Order of the Gauntlet, met the other lords, and grown to the level of strength you've achieved? In a world where your mother survived, would that Bergen be able to raise the dead as you have? It is the most arduous of struggles that refine who we are, and that pressure pushes us to excel. And even this day, you guys have beaten insurmountable odds and bested Slackerthel, an entity of extraordinary power, and you've grown that much stronger for doing it. Hecaton raises his head a bit and looks to you, Bergen. Holy man, what are you called?
Bergen Stonespire from Bremen.
Stonespire, when the Kraken killed your ally, the Ganassi, you brought him back. You didn't use diamonds or rituals, but you brought him back from the dead. Slackerthel has killed many of our kind with that very spell. There is no pulling through it. It is an instant demise, and only a resurrection can bring them back. Sigils, diamonds, all of it. And yet you pulled him back with just a glance and your words. I owe you a life debt this day, and as arrogant as it is, I must ask you for yet another chance at life. Please, will you at least examine her?
I need a long rest.
He goes,
I'll start gathering the Dragon Balls.
he says, please, just examine her. See if this is within your capabilities.
Yeah.
And he extends a flat hand down, allows you to step onto it, and raises you up the 20 or so feet onto this large seashell. And while you have fought and felled many giants, being this close to Neri makes you realize just how massive they are. Even flat on her back, her head is taller than you are. And you begin to walk around her form, assessing the condition of her body, which is surprisingly well maintained, especially considering that she's been in this stasis for almost a year. You see countless small wounds across her face, arms, and hands, evidence of the Kraken Society's foul plot. And as you approach her left hand, you feel a tug of your own left hand. And you fear for an instant that it's the Ring of Winter. But as you look down, it's your gauntlet. The obsidian gem gleaming on it, pulling you closer to her. What do you do?
I touch the gauntlet to her.
As you make contact with her, she's cold, but surprisingly soft, as if rigor mortis has not fully set in. Now, it's almost hard to believe she's been gone as long as she has. You know that with your abilities, anything that's been deceased for a long period of time is beyond you. And yet, as you do, you feel this guilt for Hecaton. You're unsure of how to tell him that there's nothing you can do. All the power of his people couldn't bring back the one thing he wanted. And it reminds you of Helmslove, the goddess who was struck down during the cataclysm. It was a terrible injustice. And with that thought, you suddenly feel the hairs on the back of your neck rise a bit. And your vision flashes. A familiar memory, one you've relived hundreds of times in your nightmares. It's Storvold, in the Temple of Helm, right before your mother's death. And clutched in his hand is that glowing red bloodstone. You flash back, and you feel a little dazed, but you feel the presence of Helm in this very room. What do you do?
Shit. Well,
If you're
meta-wise, I am out of spell slots for anything that I could attempt to cast, as far as like rezzing goes.
If you're uncertain, you can make a religion check for me. I'll say with advantage, as you are the best healer in Faerun.
Friggin' best healer.
14, you're not entirely sure. You're not even sure if you could revive a giant under the proper circumstances. These are massive creatures. You're not sure if you would need more diamonds, what would happen. But that image is just sort of seared into your mind of him clutching that red stone.
Is that the Bloodstone diamond that we have?
Oh, do we still have that?
You do. You pried it off of Storvold's corpse once you killed him in, not Eberron, Elsyr.
Remember we had
That's
a
the one
chance
that
to like...
traces Sember's descendants.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if fucking we gave that to Nabo.
If we sold it.
No, you talked about it, but you ended up not doing it.
Right. Yeah, shit. Again, I'm out of that spell slot, but I attempt to do something with that.
You pull out the gem, and it's something that you've kind of resented for a long time. This is what led Storvold to not only your mother, but countless of Kimber's relatives and descendants, and that were felled by him. You take the gemstone, and you set it on the center of the back of her left hand. and you begin to try to cast Revivify with a little bit of strength you have, and while your gauntlet flickers for a moment, there's no effect. You try again, digging deeper, and drawing forth but a faint, fleeting glimmer of light from within the bloodstone. You once more steel your faith and your will, pouring all of the hope you can muster, drawing out every ounce of magic within your body. When with a blinding red light, the gem begins to glow, an intense crimson, and slowly sinks into the flesh of Neri's hand. A small crack appears across it, and another, 100 more, as the gem fractures into a thick, luminous red dust that seeps within her flesh and courses through her veins. Still glowing, you watch as it rises up her arm and courses into her heart, where it blossoms across her entire form. The slashes and punctures across her skin glow that same red as the energy reaches them and begin to seal and mend. The glow makes its way through her entire system until her form is glowing as if a red beacon, illuminating the chamber and the seas beyond with a brilliant flash, the light is gone entirely. Aside from the healed wounds, Neri looks exactly the same. And then you feel a vibration. And another. 2 more. 2 more. A heartbeat. You watch as her eyelids twitch a bit and slowly open to show her lolling eyes. And as she meets Hecaton's gaze, a weak smile cracks across her face. I knew you'd find a way. Hecaton begins to weep once more as he tightly embraces his wife, who clutches weakly onto him. After a few moments, he seems to remember that you're there, and rises to his full height, wiping the tears from his cheeks. He sets his gaze on you, Bergen. You are, without any shadow of a doubt, the greatest healer in all of Faerun. You have not only liberated me from my imprisonment, you have remedied a terrible injustice. You are a credit to the small folk, and a lifelong ally of this court. There is still much to be done. I am still weary from my imprisonment and need rest, as do all of you. Without my scepter, I cannot dismiss you back to your city. But I imagine powerful adventurers such as yourselves have ways of getting around. When you return my scepter to me, I will have the power to bestow upon you a blessing, each of you, for the work that you have done this day. Thank you. Bergen Stonespire of Bremen. Your name will be echoed within these halls for countless generations. And with that, unless anyone has anything to add...
I mean, definitely a butt slap for Bergen.
Yeah, y'all give... Your boy got the recognition he deserves.
Thank you.
Did you need help administering punishment to your 2 daughters, or you got that covered?
Hecaton furrows his brow a good bit. I am unsure of how much at fault they are. I gather that Himmerith likely placed them under some type of enchantment, modified their memories. There was still intent for them to follow through, but I am not sure they are fully at fault. They will be imprisoned until we resolve the Immorith issue and can discern further the nature of their involvement.
It's probably appropriate.
What you wanted to do was far from appropriate for her.
Just trying to lend a helping hand. Bergen heals.
Yeah, a hand on that booty.
Bergen's just trying to get snooze.
Faerun's best butt slapper. What can I say?
with that, if you guys don't have anything else, you can call upon Safine to get a ride home. You could take the boat too, but it would be a long travel.
Yeah, let's just get Zephine.
Nah, no boat. I'm done with boats.
Can we tell her where we are first so she knows what she's teleporting into before she comes and takes
Yeah,
us
I would
away?
hope so. she would ask you, like when you call her, she would ask like, "Oh, where the hell are you? I'll come get you." Yeah, you tell her this. You tell her Maelstrom, and her eyes go, "Oh, well, it's gonna be an interesting day after all. I never thought I'd walk among the hallowed halls of the giants. They probably wouldn't want me there, to be honest. But if he has given you permission, then I'm more than happy."
Did we erase those runes yet? The anti-teleportation, except for
they haven't erased them yet. Hecaton seems to. If you guys go back into that chamber, Uthor is there with. You see two guards beside the two sisters who seem to be keeping them in custody, not necessarily handcuffed or anything, but definitely have an eye on them. And you see that now the stone giant, the fire giant, the frost, the cloud that were all in the separate room come in. The cloud giant begins examining the runes, and you gather that in time they will be able to mend this and prevent it. In the meantime, there is a heavy force of storm giants that are in this room to keep an eye on the throne and prevent any type of teleportation fuckery.
I was just wondering if Safine would be able to get in.
Oh, excellent point. Uthor tells you that there is a sigil in the lower chambers, and since you called her on the mirror, he briefly draws it out with some charcoal and shows it to her. She looks at it for a second before she thanks him, and then poofs in the lower chamber. She's escorted up by a guard. Gets you boys. And if you follow her back down to that sigil, she can teleport you back to Nightstone.
There we go.
Let's go.
Poof, poof.
No further business for me.
You guys come home exhausted. It is in the early hours of the morning. The few guards that are left in the city welcome you, but you can feel the tension is heightened, their anxiety over what's to come. Safine tells you boys to rest up a bit. Whenever you need me to, I can deliver you to the front lines. You know that it's 3 days until the storm giants will attack Emerith, and it's 5 days to the battle with Bane Darkwind. You guys can take a moment to go ahead and press that long rest button and get your spells, hit points, and abilities back.
Yay.
As you're doing that, you awaken the next...
Fuck and packs out.
Drunk as fuck, yeah. You guys, I'm going to take you back to the map real quick. Not that map, we're talking this map. Late the next morning, it's almost noon. You guys, again, rolled into town like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Oh, that's way too close. Back the fuck out. Loop, loop, doop, doop.
Back it up, best friend, won't you?
You throw it in a circle, yeah. Daphne awakens you guys with breakfast, and is happy to update you on the movements of the keep. All the troops have left the city. Captain Sadiri left most of the guards. Captain Phillips led the Helmshooves cavalry. Hydia took the Uthgard barbarians. There are a few elders that remain within the lower camp. Thara uprooted the Trents and took them. Rond escorted the Ardif Rangers. The bards are on tour, as it were. Zephyros took his tower with the other giants. The blacksmith is quiet, as Brahm and Miros have both gone with the troops. Lucius and Integrity contacted the Order of the Aster, and they are leading troops to Succumber as we speak. Lord Erenbor, your father, has not returned to Nightstone yet, but he may be meeting them on the battlefield. Zatari, Tali, and Valkyr all left rather early after you discovered the Battle of Bane. The Battle of Succumber was to be the location, seemingly on the hunt for more allies. You are welcome to do what you like in the city. Safine may be here. She comes and goes as she is wont to do, and as you arrived so late last night, she may have stayed. Morak, the innkeeper, Taylor and Helena, the apothecaries, Davos, your mother and sister, Father Herol, Romulus, Donovan, and a smattering of others remain in the city. But it has been quiet of late. You guys do have a couple of days to prepare. Since we're getting close to the end, we'll kind of railroad a couple of these things. You guys, at some point in the day, come out into the town, take stock of things. And it does feel weird. It almost feels like when you first came to the town, when it was semi-destroyed and there was no one here. It's eerily quiet. And part of it's unsettling, part of it's peaceful. It has been a very hectic, 6 months for you guys, really. And it's nice to have a little bit of a breather, knowing that you don't have to rush off and kill something today. As you were in the courtyard, you see approaching from across the courtyard a charming blue, dark-skinned tiefling with long, wavy black hair and polished black horns adorned with gold bands. Her lavender lips curl into a smile as she calls out. This is, of course, Sephine. Well, I gotta say, you lords keep coming back, hell or high water. Although I am glad you came without the high water this time. So you managed to make Eldritch Calamari out of Slockerthel, or just spoil his fun?
The best cleric on Fae runs kind of zapped him.
Well, I didn't know you had it in you.
Me neither.
Accurate. I'll say you've done the world a favor for that, so you've paid off a few of the ones that you owe me. Granted, I would have loved to be there for the fish fry, but I've been rather busy trying to mobilize the Lord's Alliance. Things were going rather well, and then there was some stir that they dredged up Lord Casper Dryland on the bottom of the Dressian River. And while I admire the flair of drowning a man in his own cuffs, make sure next time he's not wearing mariner's armor. Apparently, it didn't take them long to realize he wasn't aboard the ship, and they doubled back for him. He raised hell over what you did and nearly stalled the deployment of the Lord's Alliance. But once I found his name in Armand's little black book, well, I was able to have him arrested, and he'll be put to trial later this month.
We can't just go kill him?
She goes, "Oh no, dear, life in prison is so much worse than death."
Buenos dias.
What's prisons?
Bear cage. What's a cage? But Pandora, that's far from the only thing that I did with that book. First and foremost, Armand has been quite posthumously, been disgraced and stripped of all his rank. Multiple investigations are into effect over his crew and vessels, and many other buyers have been identified from Armand's code book. Thanks to the evidence, Lord Sage was removed from the Council of Waterdeep, and unmasked as Quinlan Varned, a known worshipper of Myrtle, the god of the dead. Now, the Council then got to vote on who was the replacement. Of course, Lord Sage was the city's religious leader, and the new Lady Sage is a noble born and raised right here in Waterdeep. In Waterdeep, who has assisted in religious rites and sacred ceremonies all her life. In fact, I think you two should meet. I think I smell some sage now. Any guesses before I drop this in chat?
It's, I have a pretty good guess. I won't say it.
Is her name Sarah?
No, Sarah is, the other knight of the Order of the Aster.
It's the creepy lady, as Goldbrand would say.
Creepy lady! The doors to Nightstone Inn swing open as two women emerge. The first, a tall, pale-skinned woman with dark leather armor. Her black hair is pulled back into a braid and woven with foxglove and lavender, and a skull hangs beside a familiar curved khopesh. Tabitha.
Hey,
The second hi there, Shug. The second is an elven woman with wildly curly red hair and golden eyes. A stern face bespeckled with freckles contrasts nicely with light green dress. Akanaria, the elven woman that you guys saved from Ironslag. Tabby goes, "Oh, come on now, Sephine. I've been a lady for all of 3 days, and you keep telling everybody. God knows how you keep anything secret, you gossip." She looks all at you. "I'm happy to serve the city, and hopefully between me and Lady Azure here, we can start cleaning up the council a bit." Sephine, and you'll have to forgive Akanaria, boys. She's a bit of a quiet one, but her firepower has recently gotten even more of a kick here. Akanaria, I prefer to show than to tell. And it's still early well, yeah. We'll say it's a little closer to late afternoon as you guys are doing this, and all the torches in the city burn a little brighter, and the flames begin to leap from one torch to another and go in a very swift pattern, almost making a serpent of flame. And it rises up in the air and explodes in hundreds of these colorful sparks, like fireworks. But as they drift down, each of the sparks lands on a torch and reignites it in a colorful flame. Arcanox, you recognize this as dragon fire. True dragon fire. That not even dragonborns, wyverns, drakes, or worms can produce. This is why even dragons who breathe flames cannot all produce this. This is a incredibly refined skill. Safine smiles a bit as she sees you guys admiring the fireworks. You should count yourself lucky, boys. You've made some powerful friends in your adventures. Now let's just all hope they show up for your shindig. Speaking of firepower, she lays down a long rolled wrap. It almost looks like a rolled carpet. And as she unrolls it, the scythe appears in it. And you recognize this wrap as the same one she had magical items in when she was selling them in Golden Fields. She goes, well, Goldbrand, if you're up to it, I think I figured out just what we need to do to this thing. Break that curse and get you a new toy. Are you ready for a little bit of a field trip?
Do it.
It's pretty badass. Yeah, let's seize it.
She says, well, we're going to need 3 things. The first is 2,000 gold of diamond dust. Now, I've been nice enough to collect that for you in advance, but I will require repayment. So if you will subtract 2,000 gold from the bag.
Goldbrand doesn't know how much that is, so he just nods.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Next, we're going to need the blood of one of your descendants. Here you've got quite a few.
Half a nightstone.
I don't know that any of them is still here. Gideon's fine. Hidea's gone.
Revna's gone. Edensaw is technically still home.
Okay.
We can check the pig pen to see if any of them are.
Can we just run blood tests on any of
that was pretty good.
all these kids?
Brendan's got like 3 roasts on me today. He's going off.
I love it. You go to Edensaw, and you tell him that you need some of his blood to break a curse on a magic scythe, and he looks hella sus. He's like, Starkeeper, I mean no disrespects, but that sounds like some Fey bullshit. I don't know if this is a good idea.
I don't think the Fae made it. I think some demons made it, but don't worry about this. We've killed one of everything.
I'm sorry, Father. I know the tales of our people. I'm not comfortable with this. You'll have to ask one of the others.
Corinne stabs him. Nah, I'm just kidding. Titus Hydraulic is just...
Yeah.
Does the spell say it's a willing participant?
Can I offer you an obsidian axe in this trying time? Go back to him like there's blood on it, surely.
You begin to leave Edensaw's tent a little frustrated, and you hear a familiar voice. Oh, Father. Well, I hear that you're looking for some close blood. Have I heard correctly?
I am. Are you willing to contribute?
And why you got some?
In exchange, I will.
Yeah, bro, we'll get you some blueberries.
No,
If you will give your blood to me, I will give you something in returns. But like most contributions to the tribes, I'm not going to tell you what you get in returns until you offers your aids first.
Oh, well, I'm not going to offer aid until I know the price, so I guess we're at a standstill. What do they call this, an Uthgard standoff?
It will be worth your whiles. It will...
Interesting. Roll a persuasion check.
It will exceed whatever you are imagining, if I had to guess.
Roll with advantage.
He may not even like what I'm thinking, actually.
Even better.
Yeah.
I'm going to set an 18 on this, I think. The second 0 of our campaign.
Oh.
Back to back. Bob, I'm afraid you're going to.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I want.
Okay.
In exchange for providing you with blood for whatever you need it for, I want to be released from the tribe. I want to leave the Blue Bears, the Uthgard as a whole. And I want to live in your city.
You've been free to leave whenever you wish. I did.
With... Understood, father, but mother is much less... What's the word I'm looking for? Open-minded.
I was going to give you the weapons if you broke the curse. But perhaps you are not as violent as me. You can have what you wish if you give me.
Oh, well, few could be as violent as you, couldn't they?
Damn straight.
Or as horny.
Prolific.
Prolific. There you go.
He extends a hand to you to shake on it and make the deal that in exchange for his blood, you will do the do.
Excommunicate him, essentially. Release him?
Basically, honorably discharge is basically what he's going for. He wants to be freed, but he doesn't want there to be bad blood because of it.
Isn't there usually spilled blood to leave?
There will be for this.
What the heck?
Never mind. I'll deal with that. Hidea's not that tough. Goldbrand quietly thinks about the 4 fucking giants she killed.
You say Hidea isn't that tough, and all of the elders who are like a few tenths over just bust out laughing. Like, you hear Griselda, that's what you think. We all know the kill score from Deadstone. Safine says, well, you've got the diamond dust, you've got the blood. We need one more thing. I gotta ask, you visit your parents' grave lately? We're gonna need a bone of one of your ancestors.
Once again, we could check the pigsty if that's easier.
I don't know that he has anything on him like that.
You certainly don't carry your ancestors' remains, but you know where they're buried.
Yeah, I mean, he's been there recently, but he doesn't have anything from there, for sure. I mean, they can go all the way back to fucking the stand.
I'm offering to give you a ride, Chug.
Oh! The weekend goes. Goldbrand tells her how to get to...
Sesame Street?
Stone Stand?
I guess. Goldbrand doesn't like having to tell an outsider where that is, but alright.
She crosses her heart. Yeah, I'll swear myself to secrecy, don't worry. Trust me, despite what Tabby says, I can keep quite a few secrets.
You take an artifact out of theirs, I'll come find you the same way I found all the other giant lords.
She goes, I have just as much of a vested interest in keeping the Fae out as you do, Shug. I'm not going to take anything.
Point taken.
If you want, you can roll an insight check, but you know Safine pretty well. You gather she's being genuine.
Point taken.
Oh, it almost
Would you like your...
She's earned it.
I've saved your ass so many times! Well, if you boys are down for a road trip, we'll make a quick pit stop at Stone Stand. She doesn't know the name Stone Stand. Before Devin gets all sus, like, how did you know that? With a snap of her fingers, you guys are once again at Stone Stand. The massive tree in the middle, and you guys had dug up underneath it to remove the skull of Gert the Pale, the leader of the Frost Giants, and the one that Uthgar overthrew to make this a man's world. This stand has been restored, so you see freshly moved earth that has sort of covered this. Grass is beginning to spark through, but in the winter, it has been there has not been much growth. It is still patchy. There are several piles of stone, cairns, which are basically grave markers. And Goldbrand, you know exactly which ones your parents are in. You go there. And,
Goldbrand defiles a grave for the second time in this campaign.
You do. You're only like 30 feet away from the other one too. You're like, oh, that's the last.
Just picture he's crying as he's digging with this. I'm so sorry.
You grab the bone of your father, or your father or your. Well, no, they would be separate. Yeah, your father.
Whoever was told my father was.
Grab Daddy's bone.
Whoever was told you. God, Ben, why did you say that?
I couldn't not do.
You're right, though. She goes, well, and now we wait. After a couple hours, it grows dark. The moon begins to rise. A nice crescent moon. She takes the scythe, and she lodges the hilt part of it, the bottom, within the ground, and tells you to bathe it in the diamond dust. Goldbrand begins to, perhaps heavy-handedly, sort of sprinkle it atop the scythe. It clings to the magical aura of it rather well, surprisingly well. She then, now you must wet the blade with blood. Najal, who is beside you, comes up and runs his hand along the bottom to form a slice of crimson across the bottom of it. And the dust begins to glow a dim red. And now you must break the bone of your father across the blade. You do so. And even though this bone has been here for decades, when you snap it, there is a black, thick marrow, bone marrow? Yeah, bone marrow, inside of it. And it begins to ooze down the blade a bit, and when it comes into contact with the blood, the entire scythe begins to glow this red color before it bursts into ethereal blue flames. And after several seconds, the flames cease, and the scythe is still there, covered in soot. Goldbrand, if you go to...
Before touching it,
Go ahead.
Goldbrand would look at Jal and say, would you use it to protect the peoples of that town?
Najal cocks his head a bit. Well, I will admit it has some flair, but I've always preferred the swifter weapons. Now that dagger you have there, that I would be open to taking. The scythe is not my style.
I'll definitely think about this. Goldbrand will take the axe, and if
The scythe?
Yeah, the scythe. If Najal doesn't want it.
Okay. Devin, do me a favor. Go to your inventory and add Bone Carver to your inventory. I've just dropped a picture of it in your chat. For meta knowledge, does quite a few things. It still has the ability to deal extra damage and gain that as life. You can still do the Misty Step as a reaction when you're hit. You also, when you kill a creature, you get to roll a d4 for every hit die it has, and you gain that much hit points. And creatures you kill that would regenerate on another plane do not.
Thanks.
Good way to permakill something. You got it on there?
I got
Make sure
it.
you tune. Beautiful. With that, you guys...
Goldbrand will go ahead and give Najal the dagger.
The dagger, okay. He takes it in his hand, spins it a couple of times. He starts to throw it toward the grandfather, or toward the... Yeah, grandfather tree, yeah? That's a separate mound, never mind. Begins to throw it at the tree in the center of the mound, thinks better of it, and instead stows it on his belt. Now, I will fight for the city that I seek to call home, but don't think just because you're the Lord now that I'm going to be listening to everything you say. Well, when have I ever?
Damn straight. Long as the town remains safe, I don't cares. You may be one of the only Uthgarts left when this is all over. And Goldbrand will walk away.
Realizing that Safine is your ride home, she with a wave of her hand and a snap of her finger, all of you come back to Nightstone. You rest up, and on the following day, a couple things happen. Ark, Akanaria finds you, that red-headed woman who did the display of fire magic earlier, comes to you, and you're the one they call the Red Death, are you not?
This is I.
I understand that you have some pyrokinetic abilities of your own. Is this true?
Yes, this is true. They are not my own, technically. I have acquired them from some kind of amethyst dragon.
Her eyes grow a little wide. So it is true. Do you know where these types of powers come from? Who was the original pyrokinetic being of this realm?
That I cannot help you with. All of my knowledge of fire comes from my natural ability to produce it.
She goes, long ago it was said that among the chromatic and the metallic dragons, that there were gemstone dragons as well, like the amethyst dragon that you met. And the leader among them, their god king, was the ruby dragonborn. The ruby dragon, excuse me. It was believed that I was a descendant of his, because of my pyrokinetic abilities. Now, Zafuhiri, the sapphire dragon, has told me that that is not the case. However, she has allowed me to expand my abilities, and I think I can help you as well. Go ahead and use your breath weapon. She wants to see you demonstrate it.
Alright.
You, few feet away, a burst of flame emerges, not coming from your mouth, but truly psionic. And as she sees it, she sort of reaches out and actually grabs it as if it were tangible. And it wreathes around her fingers, and she looks at it, examines it, draws it out, almost forming a cat's cradle of flame. And as she inspects it, it begins to glow a little bit of that rainbow hue that her fire was doing earlier. And she places it to your chest. I'm going to give you a feat for this as a reminder, but you can expend a charge of your fire breath as a free action to ignite both of your weapons in flames. So that is going to give you... I need to find the thing. I'm looking at the wrong thing. When you do a hit, when you do that, you'll deal an extra 3d10 fire damage per weapon. So pretty fucking solid. Now, I'll add a feat for that later, but she tells you, it is good that you are so strong in spirits. Dragons are seeming to be in a precarious state in the world. With as many that have fallen, Zafuhiri is worried something is afoot. Hopefully we'll come out on top of it. About that time, elsewhere within the town, Tabitha comes to you, Z. And says, Z, I've just been listening to Davos get drunk and retell us the tales of your exploits. And he said that you died. How?
A giant legendary creature used a spell on me and zeroed me out. One word.
That'll do it. But when you went down, did you see anything? Did you meet anyone? Did you experience anything?
Nothing I recall.
Oh, well, people always see something, Shug. You just gotta dig a little deeper. She gives you Bardic Inspiration to give you a +8 to a roll of your choice. And I'm going to ask you to make a Wisdom check to try to recall if anything occurred during that instant.
Check. No.
Yike, indeed. She is going... After seeing you try to rack your brain...
Did you say Wisdom check or save?
Wisdom check. Yes. So ignore that. Roll another. I know the modifier is probably the same, but it's a good excuse to give you a free roll. It did not help. Good looking out there, Dallas. She goes, now think about it. What was happening in the moment? You were struck down by this entity, among your friends on the vessel. Think hard. Try again with advantage.
Okay.
Meet You the Mad has no active conditions.
Hooray.
18 is the DC you needed. Fantastic. You have a flash, but it's not what you're trying to find. You were trying to recall what happened when you died on the ship, but you're remembering something sooner. Something that you've relived several times now. You're seeing your family slaughtered. Your father bleeding out, the rage and the grief that boiled within you, unlike anything you've ever experienced. And you erupted in immolating flame. And you see now yourself after those flames. Your skin ashen and cracked. And you fall to the ground and break away into dust. And yet you're still here. Not physically. You look down through your translucent hands, and you see the smoldering ashes of your corpse. As you look about, you see several other faint glows all around you, from fallen Ganassi and the few werewolves that you managed to torch before they escaped. Their spirits clinging to this place. What do you try to do?
I guess in this memory, in this vision, I'm going to, look around, try to determine what exactly's happened. I don't know how to come to terms with, realizing that I might actually be dead.
There's a flicker of movement in your vision. You turn to see a bird, a raven, picking about the scattered corpses. And as you look back, you see a gorgeous, pale-skinned woman with a deep cowl and 6 black feather wings. She's clad in exquisite ebony armor with gleaming silver and holds a dimly glowing hooded lantern with a blue flame. There's a silent beat of her massive wings. She sweeps across the battlefield, and these spirits drift toward her torch, until she comes to a stop just before you, staring silently. Do you say anything or react?
I ask her who she is and what she's come here to do.
She tilts her head a bit. I am the guider of souls. I lead those who leave this world down the path to the next. It's rare to see one burn so bright at their end. Many souls smolder into nothing. Come, little bright one, it is time to go. Your time on this world is done.
I say no.
She cocks her head a bit. I do not chase souls. I only offer to guide you because you cannot find your own way. There are those that choose not to follow, others that cannot. But they become specters or wraiths or erode into nothing at all. And when they are destroyed, they have nowhere to rest. I pity those lost souls. Why stay? What could you possibly hope to change in the grand scale? You are master of no weapon or arcane art. With what power would you change the world?
Your will alone, the knowledge of what happened here, and a desire to change the outcome that occurred for future generations.
She tilts her head, looks once more across the battlefield at the corpses. What if we make a deal? Scattered throughout this world, there are countless lost spirits who are unable to move on. I wish to give them peace. Yet, after they refuse when I approach them, I can never do so again. I'll make you a deal. I will grant you an ephemeral form, temporary, to house them, to collect these lost spirits and return them to me when your time is up. Do you find that agreeable?
I do. Sounds like it would be beneficial to me and to the other lost souls out there.
She takes her fingers, long, slender, nails painted black, and she swipes them through the blue flame of her torch. The flames cling to her fingers as she swirls them about. And you can almost hear them. These are the spirits of your people. She places her hand on your chest, and it sinks into you. And you watch as these flames coalesce within your core. The Cinder Soul, as Seiko had called it. She says, I make no deals without payment, and it will come due. You watch as the ash around you swirls about and restores your form. And you awaken on the ashy ground of your village with no memory of this mysterious woman or the new fire she planted within you. As you snap back, Tabitha is looking at you concerned and asks if you remember what happened when you fell on the ship.
I look at her and I say, not exactly, but I think I remember what happened when I fell all those years ago.
What do you mean?
Guess I'd kind of relay what I just saw and explain to her that I'm not certain if I'm actually alive or not, but I know that the spirits of my people have given me a second chance at life, which she actually helped me uncover quite a while back.
Indeed.
Yeah.
As you relay the tale, recounting this strange figure you saw, she smiles. Well, of course I know who that is. That's the Raven Queen. That's my chosen goddess as a priestess of the dead, as it were. If you made a deal with her, it's binding. Did you see anything when you fell on the ship, though? If she said payment was due when your time is up, I imagine she would follow through with that. Try again. Think hard. Roll 2 more wisdom checks for me. Fantastic.
Like the 18.
Again, getting exactly the DC you needed. It's beautiful. You think down again when you were downed by Slackwithel. That deep guttural noise it said that cut you through to the core. And you recall seeing the Raven Queen, as it were, face to face again. And she whispered to you, "Time is up. Payment is due."
I guess I'll look at her and say, I feel like there's still more to be done. I need more time, another chance.
She says, "You have gathered many spirits of the sea, the earth, the air, and the flame, as well as one of a beast, interestingly enough, not one I expected you to stumble across. I do not chase spirits, but a deal is a deal. Your form is temporary. If you choose to leave this place and return to your world, it will rot. At this point, I would have asked you to make a saving throw. However, you already made it. That death save you made, You feel she's trying to draw you in against the threat of eternity, lost, becoming one of the very specters that you now house. But you resist it. You feel with every fiber of your being that you have more to do. And at that point in your life, you still had to kill Slackrathel. You had to save Hecaton. You still have to uncover the traitor and stop the Battle of Bane. You have so much that still needs to be done. And even if this form will not be here that much longer, you need to take every day you can. And within your ears, you hear Bergen's voice. Arise, as he said it in the video. As you snap back to Tabitha. She goes, are you okay? Will you be okay?
I explained to her that I did not follow through with my end of the bargain I just learned about, with the resetting. And as such, I've chosen to return back to this plane against her wishes. And that I honestly don't know the answer to that question. I'm okay for now.
She looks at you a little forlornly. And you know that Tabitha is the gravekeeper of Waterdeep, and has a very strong connection to the spirits. And you see that when you guys were first investigating Sarah of Yellowcrest, that same look of pity and sadness that Tabitha had when she met Sarah, she's giving you that same look. She says, I don't know what comes next for you. But if it's any consolation, I think you made the right decision. With what you had, there's a lot to do. And while we may damn ourselves, hopefully we'll save a lot more people in the process.
I'm not in agreement and saying, yeah, it's the best choice I could make in the moment. The consequences are yet to be seen, but hopefully they're not too steep.
She smiles a bit. If you ever want to talk, you know where to find me. And she begins to make her way to the graveyard. We're going to try to do one more thing before we call it a night. Davos. After you guys return, Helena finds you and is overjoyed. Basically tackles you, bear hugs you. And she says, "Oh, thank God you're back. It's been so boring. We've been gathering ingredients and making potions non-stop. In a way, this getaway away from the hometown, Oralbar, just seems, I don't know, it seems like it's hit a little bit of a stall. It was a nice distraction, but now that everybody's off and getting ready for war, I don't know, just makes me think of what happened to Oralbar and makes me worried that the same thing will happen here. Town's quiet. Most of the troops and oddballs that you've collected have made their way to Secumber. The bards are gone, the soldiers, the youth guard. Taylor says it was a lot like this before you guys showed up, dull and monotonous. But I've come to love the city that you guys have made. I have dinner with your mom and sister every other night, with my mom. I'm lucky to have them. They're really the only thing to keep me from going stir-crazy. I did talk to Mom about Dad. She confessed that he was an important figure in the Temple of Lathander, and while he was stationed in Oralbar, they became entangled, for lack of a better word. I don't really know how to tell this. I think you know who my dad is.
I do.
It's your dad.
Bro.
She cracks a smile. I'm fucking with you. Calm down. No, she wouldn't tell me his name, just that he was really important with the church. I tried to ask about the celestial thing without really outright bringing it up, and I'm not sure that Mom knows that he was a celestial. I mean, I don't know. Maybe she thought my little bastard ass would ruin his reputation, but I hope we can find him. I would like to figure it out, you know? Figure out where I came from, why I have this blood in my veins. I don't know. You keep going off to fight giants and dragons and armies, and I just want you to be here.
I will. Once all the dragons and the giants and all that are dead.
So it won't always be like this?
Of course not.
There will be a point where you settle down?
I may still travel. Go play some music, you know?
Settle down as much as you can, I guess.
Yeah.
I'd like that.
And then we can go find your dad. While I travel the world spreading stories of how Goldbrand's new weapon never came into use because he never got a kill from it.
I love it. She goes, speaking of, that damn scythe, I know that Goldbrand can never seem to stay on his feet too long. Well, Lord knows none of you can without Bergen. Why don't you take these? And if you'll add to the bag of holding 3 potions of greater healing, and she gives you a potion of superior healing.
Me personally?
Which is, yeah. Well, it's in the bag, but yeah. It's intended for you. She's like, come back, okay?
That's not ominous.
Indeed. Alright, we're going to do one last thing, and then we'll call it a day.
One more thing.
One more thing. Oh, God. Uncle, I forgot about that. Jackie Chan Adventures. Fuck me.
Yeah, I forgot about it too.
Z. You're a little manic, a little sleep deprived. Excuse me, not sleep deprived. You're a little anxious about the events that have been going on, but you find Donovan. Donovan and Safine and Orin still working dutifully on trying to translate the Nightstone. And once he knows you're back in town, Donovan will once again request your help. Do me a favor. Roll... Let's start with 3 Arcana checks. We are going to double up because you did not get that previous opportunity. 7, 12, 17. Okay, with a 17, you do crack a little bit. And actually with the 12, you get something too. The 12 does not yield much. You get the number 6. You're not sure what that means. It's weird that there's numbers on here. Give me 1 second. I'm highlighting stuff as you decode this. With the 17, you get a bit more. You make out an infernal. That's what you speak, correct? Draconic and infernal?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Okay. In infernal, you find generals of hell. Generals of hell.
Yeah.
It's an unusual phrase. You're not quite sure what to make of it. Roll 3 more Arcana checks for me. A 20. Fantastic. Keep going. 21. Fantastic. Keep going. Boom, boom, boom. With a 13, you're going to get another number. You're going to get a 5. With a 20 or 21, you get an expression, dragons at every hue. Dragons of every hue. Let me rephrase that. Dragons of every hue. With the 21, you're going to get... Okay. With that, you're going to get Jotun rulers. It's odd. Jotun rulers. But because you got over a 20, you're realizing something. You guys have been looking at this, each rune made up of 3 separate runes, trying to make sense of what the 3 combined mean, but you realize that's not how this is set up. You gather that it's not meant to be read as in the Jotun, the Infernal, and the Draconic all together mean something, but that in patterns, the Jotun on this rune, on this side, and the Jotun part of this rune, and the Roten part of this rune form words. Just as the Infernal forms words, just as the Draconic forms words. It's almost like a Rubik's Cube of a word puzzle. And because you figured out part of this, you piece a couple of things together. When 6 Jotun nobles perish, when dragons of every hue fall, generals of hell wither and smother. Now those last 3, those are unrelated. Generals of hell is one part. Wither and smother are 2 separate parts. You're getting a piece of this, but you're not quite sure what to make of it. It's almost prophetic. It sounds foreboding. Can you make any sense of what you've been told?
I'm gonna guess it has something to do with the people who lead the different giant races and something about the chromatic dragons, maybe?
Very good guesses. Jotun nobles does sound like the giant rulers. When 6 Jotun rulers perish, you know, many have perished. Chief Ga, Thane Kyalithica, Jarl Storvold, Duke Zalto, Countess Sansuri. Why, even Queen Neri fell. 6 Jotun nobles have fallen. This is the first trigger, as it were, in a sequence of events. Dragons of every hue. You know enough about chromatic dragons to know that there were 5 colors of chromatic dragons. You know that a white dragon was discovered dead. You know that a red dragon has been discovered dead. You know that you have killed a green dragon. You know that a blue dragon is your primary nemesis right now. You know that black dragons are among the forces of Bane Darkwind.
This man reading the book of Revelations.
I was literally gonna make the joke when we're done, yeah.
The expression generals of hell. And you can speak with your allies about this. What do you guys think of that?
What do you guys think of that? Generals of hell.
Bane Darkwind?
Yeah, well, we do kind of fucking hates that winged bastards. There's the son of the demons.
Azazel?
What I was gonna say.
You have told me before, Holy Mans of Dreams, of things with wings and horns.
Yeah, it's pretty vague and fuzzy though.
Did we... Now, I think you and Zatari had a thing where you have an idea of who that is. This was like 20 sessions ago. Maybe more. It's been a minute since Josh has been with us.
I'm with you.
You guys, you have a strong... So we have talked about this before?
You've referenced... Not... Yeah, I guess it is Zatari's dad. Zatari's
you guys
dad
do believe
is...
it's Asmodeus, the one of the highest... Actually, the highest ranking general demon in hell. And you know that Azazel is his son as well. So Azazel is tied to Asmodeus. You know that Bane Darkwind has ties to a dark god. There's a third figure, a general of hell, whatever that means. Any ideas? Somebody with ties to a dark god. Or demon. Actually, I'll allow this. A religion check from either of our holy boys.
Is it the Raven Queen?
I wish. Oh, the third general of hell.
Good luck! I cast Fireball against my own party.
Boom, boom.
I didn't ask how big
6
the
and
room
11.
was. I said I cast
Fireball. With an 11, I mean, there are several dark gods. I mean, hell, you're about to fight Bane Darkwind. You feel there's like an itch at the back of your mind. There's another dark god that's been tied into something like this. Goldbrand, you should have a decent idea of who it is. And if you want, I'll allow you to make a history check with advantage. For reasons.
For reasons? I don't even remember.
For reasons. That's
Dark
I'll tell you the
gods
reason once you get it.
this. Devin and Goldbrand don't know. Nope.
Oh my god!
How did we go from none to 3 in 2 sessions? That's impressive. I did say with advantage. Please do me a favor, roll another 0. Oh, you ruined the fun. With a 17, your soul is stained by a dark god.
Merkel? No.
Merkel, the god of
Merkel?
death. Yeah.
I thought we removed that. I was wondering about that earlier.
You haven't removed it. She told you that through some great deed, you had to prove yourself worthy. Merkel has a claim on your soul because of what you've done. She says that another god will have to supersede that.
But say, fuck you, Merkel. You have to fight Uthgar for it.
You get the idea that... Now, who gave you that, or not who gave you that stain, but what force is tied to that you know?
What force? I mean, that was from... It was from buying a slave. Like, it was from the Iron Ring. But he did.
Who's slave?
Amerigo's. He did.
Amerigo. He is. The expression Generals of Hell stands out in your mind, though. You guys don't know exactly what this Nightstone says. You're figuring out a piece at a time. But you get the idea that this stone foretold of something. And it seems as if that's coming to pass. Now, Donovan is fascinated by this. He's making notes frantically. He's like, well, that's if we're reading them circularly, that changes everything. We have to rearrange our notes. Fuck. Oren, I'm going to need your assistance. We're going to crack this. I feel like if we can solve this before the Battle of Bane, we could use this to stop their entire army without ever losing a troop. Can you imagine? Stopping an entire force without a single death on our side.
That doesn't sound very fun.
I'll still let you hit a couple before we do it, if that'll make you feel better about it. But this is big. What you've uncovered here, Z, is fantastic.
I nod, and then I turn around to the party and I say either he's right or we're gonna cause the apocalypse.
Ah!
You know, I was
And
kind
with
of
that ominous foreshadowing, we'll go ahead and call it a night. Thank you guys for sticking around a little later. When we start back next week, we'll be very close to... we'll probably pick up with you guys pursuing Imarith. So might have a big fun encounter next week. Love you guys very much. Thank you for sticking around. I know this one was a lot of talking, but hopefully y'all found out a lot about your backstories, connections, and got some cool little perks out of it too. Love you guys very much. Please take care of yourselves. Love one another. And is it time for D&D yet? Please, just one more game. One more game.
Just one more.
All right,
One
guys.
more session.
One more. All right. Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.